Wendy Bell Radio was live.
You were hanging.
You blinked.
No, you were hanging. It's such crap. Like, I can't win for losing with you.
Welcome, gentlemen, to the world of women.
Hey,
Can't
everybody!
win.
Did you hear that the Senate, they said, you know, there's not enough time for us to vote on this Save Act thing, or we gotta, there's just not a lot of time to get stuff done here. And then they had, what did they have? Some dog parade.
I'm done with John Thune.
Bring your
what
dog.
A willow.
Bring your dog to work day, and you're like.
And on top of that, let us know who the Republican senators are.
Tom Tillis. Lisa Murkowski.
Then make them explain.
Mitch McConnell and
make them all explain.
This new schmuck in Utah, John Curtis. He's the Mitt Romney light.
You might as well go get John Fetterman.
Think about when Mitch McConnell was the Senate Majority Leader. He was the Senate Majority Leader during some pivotal stuff, 2015 to 2021, right? He was there all through Trump. That first one, all the judges, all the bull crap, all the weaponizing, all of that. Dude has been a deep state hack forever. So I was thinking, what do you do? What does the state of Kentucky do? What do you do when the guy who's allegedly representing you isn't representing you and you don't believe the elections? Because they're using machines that are connected to the internet and tens of thousands of fake ballots and all of this stuff that we know happens. Like, where is an American citizen to turn?
Well, think of all the obstruction in the Republican Party where it comes from. Kentucky. Rand Paul, Thomas Massey. And I don't care if you vote Republican 97% of the time. When the people call for one thing,
dude,
or they're clamoring for things and you just ignore them, Rand Paul, Thomas Massey, and McConnell.
So I got an email today, a text message actually, from Dr. Rafferty.
Oh,
I know.
I got an email from him.
I love beginning my day with a little TLC from Dr. Rafferty. It wasn't for me, though. He wanted me to talk about him. I'm like, fine. Talk about you and the life-changing stuff you do with people's backs. Whatever. And he said, hey, Wendy, I want you to read this. So this woman named Amy wrote a message, and she says, my experience with the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh could not have been more positive. I had 3 severely deteriorated discs in my neck that resulted in significant pain and discomfort. I lost strength in my hands and arms and had difficulty sleeping at night for more than 30 minutes at a time. From like most people, I was skeptical that a non-surgical approach would work and was aware that many neck surgeries do not result in good long-term outcomes. I decided to receive treatment from Dr. Rafferty. I'm now back to living life to its fullest. The pain is gone. I have full range of motion. My strength has returned, and I now sleep through the night without any discomfort. This experience has been truly life-altering. The entire staff are exceptional people and care deeply about helping and healing others. PittsburghDiscInstitute.com, 412-906-9600. I don't think I can add anything.
Think about that. Not only does your back hurt, you can't sleep.
And so what does our American health system do? Make it criminally impossible for you to get any kind of treatment covered by any insurance, or to identify that chiropractors are often well suited to do things that your primary care provider can't, right? Everything's outrageously expensive, supposed to be slow. It sucks, right?
I told you about my leg. I could not get rid of the pain. And when I was at the chiropractor, the one lady, she's like a chiropractor and a massage therapist for him. And I just said, hey, I don't know why my back feels better from all the therapy, but right here. And she's like, don't tell me where it's at. She reached around and she's like,
probably hurt like a son of a gun.
And I'm like,
right?
I haven't had an ounce of pain. Now, what would the doctor have done? Here's a pill.
Here's the prescription, or go to the specialist. Like, I get it. Hey, Lady Pink, Lady in Pink, $20. I want to thank you for my order of Blood Flow 7, Wendy and Brock. I'm telling you,
Alpha Gold
there is no better thing for you to take. Buy it, try it, take it, do the whole bottle. This is it.
Consistency.
Show them yours. Do you have your Alpha Gold male? They have one. They have something that you can buy. It's a bundle. It's that and this. That involves testosterone. It's all for the men. This is for anybody.
Low,
it's all about nitric oxide, opening up your blood vessels and arteries, getting more blood flowing through. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Get it. Try it. Please. Wendy30 to get 30% off. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I will. There are very few things I'm like, this is one of them. It will change your life. Give it the whole bottle.
Where was this stuff when we were younger?
I don't know. I mean, literally just walk. Remember when you and Sinatra and Murphy and I went for that walk and we walked up that really steep hill and we were both like, oh, I walked right up that damn thing.
My dog
I walked right up it and was like, wait a minute. What just happened? Bloodflow7.com/Wendy.
4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, hello, America, and greetings to all of you all across the beautiful fruited plain. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. I'm Wendy. I'm a mom. I'm a proud American. I love our military, and I tell you the truth. How about that? And I'm a conservative. I am a common sense conservative woman. This is not complicated. Everything that seems like such a hand-wringing like conundrum, it's just so obvious. There are people in this country that love America, and there are people in this country that don't. And that is the battle we are in, ladies and gentlemen, because a lot of the people who don't lie to you so you think that they do. And then when they take office, they screw us all. Well, Senate Republicans are doing that right now. We're going to talk about it on the Wendy Bell radio program. WendyBellRadio.com is how you can download our whole show and be a part of the live video stream. Wendy Bell Radio is our podcast. You can get it wherever you get your favorite stuff. And I can say we are up to 23 million video views of this program. So thank you if you're among them, and welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. This is an odd day for me. I don't know why it feels so odd. My oldest son, Michael, turned 26 today. And so I know he's probably paying attention. And I just want to say, I love you, sweetheart. And happy birthday. Isn't it weird, though? You think back, I think back about that day, my first child, not knowing what to expect. He was all breech and twisted in knots inside. And the doctor was like, well, it's your first baby. We don't know how that's going to work for you if you try to do this yourself. But if we do a C-section, he's going to be beautiful and perfect. Of course, I was like, C-section, please. And then all of a sudden there I have a baby. Isn't it so weird? You go to the hospital as 2 people and you come home as 3 or 4. And you're like, this is the most bizarre thing. And then you do it again and again and again. And then you have something so special. And my something so special lives in Tampa. And Michael lives with a bunch of friends from high school. And I think that's what a lot of kids do. A lot of young adults do, because it's so damn expensive to afford anything on your own. Hopefully Trump is going to fix that. One of the things I love about Michael is that he and his friend have decided to volunteer at the local Catholic elementary school, middle school. And they are the junior varsity basketball coaches for this cute little Catholic school in their community. Not quite dissimilar from what they grew up with in their childhood. And these boys that Michael and his friend coach, this is their second season. And they work very hard. They practice often. I hear some of his schedule, and they do a lot. They do a lot of drills. They do a lot of free throws, right? Because, I mean, basically, when you're learning how to play basketball, what happens? You either miss a lot of shots or you get fouled a lot, and so there's a lot of opportunities for you to be at the line. And so this is what they've done. They've got some great players on the team who are, let's just say, bigger than everybody else, quite a bit bigger than everybody else, and they've been just kicking the snot out of all of their opponents in this cute little league that they're playing in. And then yesterday was this big like championship game, getting into the finals. This is the game determining who the people are going to go and play. And so it's Michael and his boys. They are the Villa Madonna Eagles. And this other school. Well, yesterday was pretty bad because there's this horrible stomach virus that's going through some of the community in Tampa. And one of the two big guys on Michael's team, I mean, we're talking about 11-year-olds, right? How big can they be? Well, it's important. And one of them was down for the count. He missed school. He was throwing up. It was terrible. So one of their two big important players leading into the second most important game of the season is out throwing up at home. And so is the main coach, Michael's friend. So literally Michael's driving to the game. He's got his big guy who's out. His coach is out. He's got a team that is completely kerfuffled. They don't know what to do. It feels kind of weird. And after the first half, they're down. They've not been down all season. 6-4, down by 2. The kids come back over to the bench and they huddle around Michael. And he's like, look, this is your game to win. You guys have put in the time. You guys have shown up. You put in the sweat. Don't you worry about the fans. Don't you worry about your parents. Don't you worry about what the other people are doing. You play your game. It's the game that we've been playing since the beginning of time. Let's go out there and do this. You know how to win. And so in the next half of the game, their Villa Madonna Eagles would go on an absolute scoring rampage and end up winning the game without their big guy, without the main coach, and the kids kind of like biting their fingernails. They go on like a 14-4 scoring streak, and they beat the other team 24-14. They held the other team to a measly, 4 baskets in the entire second half of that basketball game. And they were nuts, crazy, screaming, like bench clearing, woo! All of the parents, Michael's like, there's all of the stands are packed. The principal's there. The teachers are there. The nuns are there. The kids are going haywire. And today, on Michael's 26th birthday, his Villa Madonna Eagles are playing in the championship game. Now, why am I telling you this story? Do you care about what somebody else's kids are doing? Probably not, any more than I do. But there was something that was so special about the call that I got from my son last night. It's sort of like that thing that I think a lot of people got if they tuned into the State of the Union on Tuesday. It wasn't about a bunch of individual players, about certain people playing certain positions, who's going to score the most, et cetera, et cetera. It was team. It was we. It was us. It was our time. It was our game. It was our community. It was our people. It was our freaking victory. That's how I felt on Tuesday night, listening to our president say things to the entire country, to the world, that were the most uplifting, positive, foreshadowing, for sure, comments. And the left couldn't handle it, my friends. Michael called me last night with a joy and a difference in his voice. It's like something had clicked. He remembers what it was like being those boys' ages, showing up for practice, going to the games, trudging out in the snow. They're not doing that in Tampa, but going out in the snow, walking to the gym, doing the drills, doing them again, hitting the line, doing the practice. And to be there and to realize that you're going to be one of the most important memories in what? 10 boys' lives? That's powerful. When you do something, not for you, that does something. And so if my friends out there, you will humor me, say a little prayer for the Villa Madonna Eagles, that perhaps tonight they give it all they've got and they bring home the championship trophy on Michael's 26th birthday. It was cute because I talked to him this morning and he's like, Mom, even if we don't win, oh my gosh, this has been the greatest experience. As a mom, that is more important than almost anything. When you see your children walk into the doors of adulthood, maybe start their own families, start to understand all of the reasons why you were crazy when they were growing up. It's a lot of pressure, but it's a team. A team. President Trump on Tuesday invited everybody into the gymnasium. He offered everyone a seat on the bleachers. He gave everyone skin in the game. He gave everyone reasons to cheer, everyone reasons to celebrate, and everyone reasons to feel grateful for this remarkable opportunity we have to do this thing that we're doing together. I don't know how it's going to pan out today. I've got to tell you, I've got some butterflies in my belly right now because I want it all to go perfectly, and that's just not how life goes. But if anybody out there who was watching that president on Tuesday who didn't feel part of that team called America, I don't know what it's going to take. Michael, happy birthday, babe. Bring home that win. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, John Fetterman, man, I don't know. He's kind of in a political pickle. We're going to talk about that in a broader context later in the program, but you got to hear some of the stuff he said after the State of the Union. He's like, I just don't get it. I don't get how you don't stand for people. I don't get how you don't celebrate people who are American heroes, like the common sense Democrat. Is the senator from Pennsylvania, ladies and gentlemen. Hear what he said, rebuking fellow Democrats, next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. He was so excited. It was so great.
He doesn't. I bet he doesn't even fully grasp how much that speech or game prep is going to do. Best advice I got when I was 12. Remember what it's like to lose. I was 12 and I remember sitting on the bench that day. Like, you get life lessons and you don't even realize they're life lessons.
Michael said something really cute. You have two bigger boys, and one of the boys, like I said, was sick, and so he missed school. And the rule is if you miss school, you don't play. The other tall player on the team, the other center, was also sick, but he went to school because he wanted to play. And so the whole team is like rallied around him. And I'm sure he was kind of green. But I'll tell you what, you power through when you've got a championship on the line, when you've got the banner in the gym on the line, when you've got the trophy, however tacky it is, on the line.
Go
like,
Eagles.
I'm going to make this. And so one of them stayed home. I'm sure he was sick as stones, but the other one was like, I'm going and I'm going to make it through. Who knows if he's barfing in lunch hour or whatever, but to show up and then to go out and win. I'm like, you know what? Good for you. Good for you. 9, 10, 11-year-olds. That's a lot. It's a lot. IrelandContracting.com, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, Ireland Contracting. You know, if you live in southwestern Pennsylvania and you're thinking about making some changes to your house, sometimes you want to, sometimes you have to. And when you need a new roof, it's not a matter of wanting it, you need to have it. Ireland Contracting is an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred dealer, which means this is the shingle company, right? They're in the top 1% of Owens Corning roofers in America. This mom and pop family business, Ireland Contracting. That's how good they are. If you need new windows, call Ireland Contracting. Siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, downspouts. You know the drill. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. I'm telling you, you can depend on them. You can depend on them. Because I do.
I was down there with Michael. I would totally get there early, and I would live stream the show or live stream the game to the
Here's
website.
Michael, never coached by himself. He's always been the number 2. All of a sudden, he and the other coach are driving, and the other coach apparently gets sick in his car and has to turn out. And then Michael's like, I guess I'll do it alone. So he goes with all the balls and everything, and the kids are like, ooh. And he's like, come on, boys, we come this far. You're not going to give up now.
Should have told him, you guys haven't been taking your healthy self.
I love them. Love it. I was just so excited to hear my son be excited. That's fun.
Yeah,
That's fun. That's gravy time. That's gravy. And standing up and applauding when President Trump said things that the rest of the Democrat Party did not rise for.
I got a few because I said I wasn't sure. Yeah. I didn't think so, but and then I corrected myself when people corrected me, right. But I still got some emails.
I did as well. A lot of people were very protective of the senator from Pennsylvania, which is interesting. So I was looking at where John Fetterman was sitting in the gallery there during the State of the Union. And he's kind of off to the right, not far from kind of the podium stage area where the president was. I know there's an official name for it. Who cares? Anywhere, he's by himself, kind of separated from the rest of the Democrats, is Senator Fetterman. And the president shakes his hand and then goes up and presents the State of the Union. A lot of people on the left howled about that. And it's like, grow up. It's the president of the United States. When the president invites you to come to his private home for supper, you know what you do? You say, what time is the plane picking me up? Absolutely, I'll be there. When you get offered an opportunity to go to the White House or to go to the State of the Union, you don't miss that opportunity, right? And John Fetterman getting skewered by the left. But he said something very cogent, very common sense. It's nice to know that all sanity is not lost in members of Congress. Here he is on CNN, and he's talking about shaking the president's hand and standing for common sense. And he says something very poignant. If we refuse to talk to the other side, the only one who really loses is America. Listen.
We have to find a way, if we can be in the same room, we can disagree on these things. You don't have to sign off on everything. You don't have to agree with everything. And now, if I hear something that I agree with or I like that, hey, I'm going to stand up and clap for those things. And I think, and if someone's angry that I shook the president's hand as he walked in, I think that's on them. And I think some of the people that were angry that I did that, they didn't really have a problem when Mandami visited with the White House too. So, like, if we refuse to talk to the other side, I mean, that's the only one that really loses. That's America.
So well said. Like, where did this extraordinary childishness come from? It is a very off-putting characteristic on the left. It's a la 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 la. I do not hear you. I'm walking away from you because I have no way to argue with you because I don't have facts. I have feelings, and feelings are very difficult to justify. It's ridiculous, the behavior. He goes on Fox. Fetterman does. And he's talking about standing at the State of the Union for all the right reasons. This should not be complicated. And it is the senator from Pennsylvania who's almost mystified that he's somehow like in the spotlight again. Listen.
The rest of people in my party would stand up and clap for. I clapped with a lot of those things that it seemed like others. Like I stood up and I clapped to recognize the family that lost their daughter, the Ukrainian girl that was stabbed to death, in North Carolina. And I stood up and I clapped that political prisoner from Venezuela, how you can't celebrate those kinds of things. And now I also celebrated all the veterans that were in the audience as well, too. And even more the political things like Erica Kirk. I stood up and I clapped for her as well, too. Now, here, can't we just be more kind to a widow? I mean, we just shouldn't be that long ago that a widow, with young children has her husband murdered, how we can't just acknowledge that as well, too. Wow. Whether white people would attack her, whether the left or the right either. So I'm always going to stand up and clap for things that I agreed with like striking the Iranian, sites now for me. I never worry about who's standing up or clapping. If I see it, I'm going to. If I don't agree with it or whatever, I'm certainly not going to yell and scream and disrupt the whole thing.
You know what the Democratic Party is? They are contrary to every good parent's advice to their children. Well, if so-and-so jumps off a bridge, are you going to jump off a bridge, right? We've all been told that. We've all said it to our kids. Don't follow the leader. Don't follow the pack. Don't be absorbed into the blob. Dare to be you. Dare to be different. Dare to vote your conscience and be who you are. Democrats demand assimilation. They demand uniformity. They demand a homogenized view of the world. And if there's deviation, well, forget about it. You're persona non grata, and we're going to go try to burn your house down. And John Fetterman says this about this counter programming that the Democrats went to, 70 of them that had adults dressed up like dancing frogs. Do you know how stupid you look? Because John Fetterman does.
I don't care if it's a Republican or Democrat as a president. Just don't do that. Don't do that. Respect the office, regardless who's in that. And now for me, it's like now when half the people in my party haven't showed up, and then some of them have chosen to just yell and say and scream during all of it. I just don't think that's what we want. And I don't believe as a Democrat, I think like dancing frogs really moves the ball for us as a party either.
100%. And so it is that commentary. It is that basic common sense. Doesn't make John Fetterman a freaking rock star or some kind of super genius. He's just a decent human being who hasn't been completely co-opted or controlled by the machine. There is a very clear expected manner of behavior by the Democrats. And it's whomever is handing out the day's script for whatever the theatrical production they're going to put on for you and me to believe is reality. You read your script, you read your lines, you deliver them. You don't ask questions. That's the way it goes. Understood? As payoff, we'll let you insider trade and get rich and all that stuff. Is that how the deal goes? Well, when we come back, I think hell hath frozen over, ladies and gentlemen, because the mainstream media actually told the truth yesterday. Donald Trump is the one who took gold. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. And it's just, I want to take people, I want to slap them. If there was a way that I could take one particular person in my life and just look at her and have her talk to me and just be like, whack, and have her be like, and then I'll look in her eyes and be like, I don't think that was hard enough. Let me try that again. Whack. Wake up.
Throat punch.
Wake up. Wake up. It is so off-putting. I can exist with liberals, right? I don't have to talk about politics with you. I don't care what your politics are, right? Liberals cannot coexist with me. That's the problem. And I'm like, oh, sucks to be you then. I don't really care. Right? And so friends and family members and acquaintances and former colleagues and what have you, they kind of drift away. I'm like, okay, I don't have a problem with that. All right, let's talk about Dr. Gundry and MCT Wellness. This is what I drink every day. I drink it at the gym. I drink it here. And I will tell you, if you are one of those people who gets like the mid time of the day munchies, or you get a little grumble in your tummy, or you're like, you know what, I got to have something that's chocolate or something that's sweet or something that's salty. And you're just like, try this. Try this. Look, everything that I tell you, from Healthy Cell to this to the Blood Flow 7, like all three of these things together are probably in a month less than $120 together. This is not expensive. You drink water anyway. Put a scoop of this in your water and watch what happens. This is how Dr. Gundry lost 70 pounds. Is it the secret elixir of weight loss? No, but it does something very important. And it crushes your appetite for a finite amount of time. It's also very delicious. And since you're drinking water anyway, put it in there, shake it up, and then be like, it's weird. I'm not eating 3 meals a day anymore. That's the point. And it works. And Dr. Gundry did it 20 years ago, and he's still looking good. And he knows thousands of people who have had it and had the same benefits. So if you've got some significant weight to lose, this could be your best friend. MCT Wellness, you can get it by going to thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. Something bit me on my knuckle, on my thumb knuckle right here in the middle of the night. Do you see how big and bulbous that is? Look at that.
It looks like a spider.
Do you think it's a spider?
I don't know. That or a dead chipmunk. We know you have a history sleeping with them.
That is just rude. That was rude and unnecessary.
So Toolsy's in the chat. What's the average score for one of those games?
So they were down 6-4, and then they came back 20, and they came back to win at 24-14. So for their team to come back and hold the other team to just 4 hoops, presuming they were all just, not free throws, that's pretty huge. And for their team to come back and to score 20 points, I think it's very exciting. And for a lot of these kids, this is their first.
One of the kids running down the floor.
This is one of their first experiences with basketball. And so they miss a lot of shots. But with the big guys on the court, they get a lot of boards, right? They get fouled an awful lot, which is why that constant free throw practice is so gold. And I'm sure the boys were like, Coach O'Toole,
you got to make the free ones.
Stop. Why are we doing this? And Michael's like, just wait. Because there's going to be a day that you're going to be at the line and the whole thing is going to come down to you swishing that shot. Are you going to be able to do it? With madness going on around you, are you going to choke or are you going to perform? I don't know what I was. I don't know if I was ever really in very many competitive, nail bites. Well, you were much more of a competitor and an athlete. I was all arms and legs and so I kind of I think that's why I got into writing and piano, because it was the only thing I was good at. Right. So I don't really have those experiences, but I have performed under pressure and I don't think I cave, but I'm not nah, I don't have those nerves of steel. That's not me.
I got my thing to play baseball again this year.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So I like to be up with 2 outs, bases loaded.
You want to be the guy at the plate.
I trust me more than I trust everyone else.
Because you're so fast?
And because I make contact. And in our league, making contact means that's a good thing because chances are they're going to mess it up in the field.
Making contact means you're not in the bathroom with your prostate, which is good. I'm teasing.
But I want the chance to win or lose. I'd rather be on, even if I lose, I'd rather be on me.
Is that right? You know what? That's a very interesting perspective. I don't know if I have that same perspective.
Oh, because I'm that idiot that will lean into one. If it's close, if it means we win. I'll take the beating. Whatever. I'm not above that.
I did not see Toolsy in here. Let's see,
was.
where are you? Okay.
I like to talk smack to the batters.
It's so weird to be 26.
I wouldn't stand too close. He's a little wild today.
It's always good to plant those seeds.
You got to get in their heads, right?
Wow,
Go Eagles.
wow. Let's go Eagles. I don't think that we should expect our leaders to act any way other than we would expect our children to. I mean, what do you do from the very beginning when your children are little, right? You're constantly teaching them the rules of society. We don't do that. We do this. We don't say that. We say it this way. If you go do blankety blank, make sure you do X, Y, or Z. And for some reason, it seems like all of those lifelong lessons that we learn from the minute we take our first breath, it's all out in the garbage with the Democrats. It's like F you, F Trump, throwing rocks at police officers or snowballs, right? Setting buildings on fire, stealing from people. That to them is justified. There's always an excuse. Oh, well, I'm oppressed. Oh, well, I'm black. Oh, well, I don't agree with your policy. Oh, well, I'm trans. I'm a protected class. No. See, we're all part of the same herd, right? We're all part of the same team. At least we're supposed to be. But there's been a militarized movement, if you will, to brainwash young Americans, likely through the public school system, right? Brainwash them, teach them to hate America, teach them to hate themselves, to feel guilty about themselves, so that the only thing that they could possibly do as recourse to prove their value is to be more malignant than the next guy. The race to the bottom. That is where we are. And it's so weird because the people who are doing it and the Democrat Party cheering them on are so out of touch. They don't see you or me looking at them and saying, oh my gosh, what the heck happened to you? Because it's not funny. It's sad and it is pitiful and it is un-American. And quite frankly, I'm freaking tired of it. Let's listen to some of the voices, some of these toxic voices in the media who really have no way to lie to you to your face after the State of the Union. Some of these news people's responses to the president and his message and how he goaded the Democrats into literally a trap, and their derangement and their unilateral loathing of him and by default anything that he touches. It blinded them and they walked blindly into the trap. And now they're hanging upside down in some ratty net, right? Wondering what the hell happened. Well, let's listen to some of these people. This is CBS. And again, I say it feels like hell hath frozen over, because you're actually going to hear people who are only critical of this president say, that was a really good State of the Union. CBS is forced to admit President Trump asking that very question was a purposeful moment of visual contrast. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. Got Democrats or Republicans screaming, standing, woohoo. And then you've got a malignant, silent, stone-faced, sitting Democratic Party. And everybody saw it. Here's Major Garrett, a reporter for CBS.
Major, you've seen a lot of these, I think, more than any of us. What stood out to you?
Well, look, before the speech, many Republicans said one of the priorities for the president was to make sure Americans after this speech had a sense that the opposition party was off the rails, was crazy, their terminology, not mine. Many of the contrasts the president articulated tonight were to drive that message forward. That not only do I disagree with the opposition party sitting before me in Congress, but I disagree with them so strongly and they with me so much that they can't even applaud basic common sense thing, and that line that you mentioned, that he added to the speech, whether it was ad-libbed or not, the first obligation, American citizens versus illegal aliens, was meant to create a visual moment of perpetual contrast.
And Americans now have a choice. There was no way that was ad-libbed. This president is 10 steps ahead. I used to think it was 4, then I changed it to 8. He is well past this. He's already figured out things into next year, which is what makes him so dangerous. And because he's not co-optable, because he's not controllable, because they tried everything to get dirt on this guy. They wiretapped him. They trotted out dozens of women and even dusted off some whack job named E. Jean Carroll to spin some ridiculous fantasy that President Trump, though married to a supermodel, wanted to have sex with her in a public department store dressing room, because that makes sense, right? They spied on him. They created fake news about him, fake dossiers. They spun that whole tale about Russia forever. They did. I heard him on the phone with President Zelensky. It sounded like a quid pro quo. Impeach him. Meantime, today, we're going to talk about the FBI under Joe Biden spying on Susie Wiles and Kash Patel while they were private citizens. You want to talk to us about weaponizing? This president cares about America. He doesn't care about digging into your dirt, Democrats. He wants to stop you from destroying this country. Period. He's not sending goons to go hassle you. He's not looking into your emails or getting court judgments to be able to spy on your phone calls. That's what you are doing. It's crazy. Then there's this, Chris Cuomo admitting that Trump exposed the left's whack jobbery while simultaneously hugging the flag and celebrating all of the many glorious reasons why we're proud to be Americans.
We saw a prodigious production last night. POTUS was on his game. He was looking to engage voters by presiding over a parade of patriotism. And he was looking to enrage Democrats. And he succeeded at both. Calling out amazing sacrifice. Example after example, people who have suffered, families that have persevered through the unimaginable. And yes, it was heartwarming to see them receive the accolades that the president announced. And there were more of these examples than we've ever seen, because showcasing the triumph of the American spirit is a winner for this president and any other.
Well, it's taken you a few years, Chris, but I'm glad you finally realized that. We freaking love America. We want closed borders because we want the right kind of people here, sir. We don't want to be lied to. It's very basic. And by the way, I disagree. President Trump wasn't looking to enrage Democrats. Democrats are enraged every day. They don't need any fodder. They wake up, right, with that face on. Let's talk about this now. Caroline Levitt, she says, look, Trump set the Democrats up and they fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Cry me a river.
President Trump set the Democrats up in a trap, and they fell right into it because they cannot help themselves. They truly stand on the side of the tens of millions of illegal aliens who they allowed to pour in to our nation's open borders under the Biden administration. They truly stand on the side of career criminals who have gone to jail not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 12 times in the case of the young woman in North Carolina whose neck was slit by a career criminal who was released back onto the streets in North Carolina by Democrat policies. And they could not even stand for her heartbroken mother, who President Trump was commending last night. They couldn't even stand for a young girl who is now suffering a brain problem for the rest of her life because of an illegal alien truck driver who smashed into her family's vehicle. It was so despicable to be in that chamber and to watch as these Democrats Democrats really did show their true colors. But to your point, the president, it was a brilliant idea. It was his idea to put that into the speech, and it proved to be right because he wanted the American people to know that this is a choice between common sense and President Trump and Republicans and crazy radical Democrats who stand for nothing except for being against Donald Trump.
Steps ahead, dude, is 10 steps ahead. 100%. How about this woman? This is fascinating. This is a black woman on Fox on Will Kane's show. And this is her assessment. Sitting there watching the State of the Union, this is what she saw.
The way I viewed it last night watching it is that they gave a middle finger to the oath of office that they took. In fact, their new oath of office is oppose Trump. On anything, on any situation, the one thing that they seem to want to come together on is to oppose Trump. Trump could find a cure for cancer and they would find a reason to disagree with it. Yeah. And I don't know if that is just their strategy to get them through the midterm or whatever, but I think that if it's just about opposing Trump, I don't think that the people that elected them sent them there to do that. Number one, it is about the American people first. You got to take care of home. You got to take care of your family before you can take care of or try to help to take care of someone else's.
America heard that. Black America watched that. I did too as a white American. But Black Americans watched that. Because they've also watched their benefits. They've also watched their community centers. The areas where their kids play to stay off of the street. Where they get recreation and play ball. Those areas were co-opted and turned into housing for illegals. They've seen their benefits be squandered. They've seen their paychecks go down as they pay for people they didn't invite into this country, and their families lose out. You don't think America sees that? Of course they do. And finally, here's Scott Jennings on the most unforgettable part of the speech, Trump forcing Democrats to basically show their colors.
What the president did last night was draw. It was a night of contrasts. He drew the brightest lines you could draw between the two parties. The trouble with subtlety is that not everyone gets it, and the president understands that. And when he goaded those Democrats to sit on their hands, and they couldn't even affirm that their highest duty
that wasn't subtle,
is to protecting the American people, when he got them to sit there and they wouldn't even stand up for that, he made the point, I'm for America, and I don't know what they are for, and that'll be the most unforgettable part of that speech.
And then he said they're crazy. They are crazy, hence the title of today's show. What's better for you, common sense or crazy? Right? I'll take common sense every single day and 4 times on Sunday. When we come back, it was that question that President Trump inserted into the State of the Union that forced the Democrats to show their colors, that now has the editorial boards of America's struggling newspapers all saying the same thing. It was a bad night for the Democrats. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Such a bad look. You know, and we were so interested in watching and paying attention over these last, several months, a year, to watch how, and during COVID as well, how Black Americans responded to so much of the stuff going on. It was like there was a collective awakening, and they started walking away from the Democrats. You know, so wholesale walking away. Now, will Republicans ever own that voting bloc? I don't see it. But President Trump certainly made inroads by being the president for everyone. Remember when he went to the Bronx? Remember when he went to Harlem? Right? He went to Harlem to see the bodega where the dude got stabbed, right? And the guy was charged with murder. He went there.
Chick-fil-A.
Joe Biden didn't go there. Yeah, I walked into Chick-fil-A to buy everybody, and the black woman literally jumped into his arms. She was so excited. And he's like, come on, babe, you can give me a big hug. And she was like, woo! And that is, It's not about the promises. It's about what's in your paycheck. It's about how you feel in your community, how your children are being educated. All of this stuff. Democrats lose on every account. All right, healthycell.com. Again, this is one of my triple play moves of the day. It's have Healthy Cell, drink my MCT Wellness, my healthy fat, and take my Blood Flow 7. Okay? This is my health regimen. And I'm 55 years old. And aside from putting on a few pounds with menopause, which sucks, I did. I just tried to put on some pants to go to the viewing the other night. And I was like, well, those aren't going to be worn again. Joe's like, when was the last time you wore them? And I was like, when I was a TV news anchor. And he's like, that was 10 years ago. And I'm like, well, he's like, your body's changed. Thanks, Joe.
It's a white seat.
You're a big bottom girl now.
Yeah.
Anyway, Healthy Cell is one of those things. Healthycell.com/Wendy. Innovative delivery of supplements. It's in a gel. It's in a microgel. So it's almost like you're sucking in some Jell-O or yogurt or applesauce, that kind of viscous thing. Suck it in, swallow it, boom. 165% more, better absorbed into your body than by taking a pill. And they realized this early on. So all they started doing was making these wonderful formulations. Healthycell.com/Wendy. I take the Focus and Recall. He's taking the bone strength.
Yeah.
Bone strength. I take the strength and mobility. What is it? Here we go. Joint health and mobility. They're like 15, 20 maybe formulations. Try a whole box and then report back to me. WendyBellRadio@gmail.com. Healthycell.com/Wendy. It's the best. Focus and Recall is like, this is how I see you guys. Look at that. Look at that bag under my eye. You'll never take the woman out of me.
Hey, if you haven't rumbled yet, do it for the Eagles.
Oh, let's go,
Michael
Villa
can
Madonna.
report back. Hey, you have 3,500 people rooting for you.
My mom talked about you on her national radio show.
Yeah.
And so if you little clowns don't win,
I have to report back.
I'm super excited for them.
What time's the game?
6:15.
Ooh.
6 o'clock Eastern tonight. So I'll be like,
If I was there, I'd live stream it.
oh my gosh. If I was there, I'd be like, "Wah!" Oh, and
You'd
I
be
have
pacing.
that voice. I have that voice where I scream something. I don't swear ever, but it's usually when there's like a lull in the crowd.
But it's loud.
But it's loud.
Yeah, the
And
refs
then my
here.
kids are like, aw, they're going to miss me when I'm gone. Well, welcome back, my friends. You're dialed into the one and only Wendy Bell radio program. Okay, so you know what? It's not even debatable that the job of the mainstream media, by and large today, is to make you believe that the views of 10% of this country are actually the views of 90% of this country, right? So they take all the fringe things and they try to normalize them, try to popularize them, try to float them to you as what you should just accept. And I'm sorry, but I can't think of a thing that these people are behind that I can just accept. They're completely off the grid. It's not debatable. And I'm not the only person who sees it. So the New York Post, this is not a Democrat, paper. But I think it's intriguing because they don't always go with President Trump. In fact, their editorial board is commonly very critical of the president. But they wrote something, and I thought I wanted to read it to you. It's pretty interesting. This is the opinion of the Post editorial board. This is the title. Trump rightly pushes Democrats to show voters their weird extremism. I mean, that is a headline that you do not normally see in print, ever. How do you not stand? President Donald Trump asked congressional Democrats mid-speech Tuesday, as they sat on their hands rather than applaud his vow, that we will ensure justice for Irina Zarutska, the young woman slain by a lunatic on a Charlotte, North Carolina light rail line. It was just one of several moments that exposed why the public so dislikes today's Democratic Party. What? And set the fundamental approach Republicans will take to campaigning in the year's midterm elections. Factual. The other big landmark, of course, being their refusal to rise when the president asked them to stand if they believe their first duty is to the safety of U.S. citizens and not to illegal immigrants. Democrats just can't stop themselves from siding with criminals against justice, border jumpers' needs against citizens, the demented demands of pro-trans extremists against parents' rights, and children's best interests. Time and time again, they just plain put bizarre ideology over common sense. This is what you're going to hear. How fortuitous that I would named my Newsmax show Common Sense, right? Because if we don't have it, everything goes to hell. The article continues. The Olympic champion U.S. hockey team dared to take a phone call from this president and then even laughed at one of his jokes. And instantly the entire establishment, commentariat was damning them as Cro-Magnon MAGA enablers. Pathetic. And it matches the polling that shows how Democratic voters have turned. 87% said they were proud to be an American in 2001. The figure has dropped steadily in the quarter century since to just 36%. Think about that. 87% Democrat voters in 2001 said they were proud to be Americans. Today, it's just barely above 1 in 3. And yes, Republicans absolutely need to rub voters' faces in how crazy the Democrats have grown, because the party, if given an ounce of power, will ram through the hard left's program. Joe Biden ran as a centrist, only to embrace the craziest DEI and trans agendas and open both the border and the inflation-feeding spending spigots the instant he took office, and nothing has changed. New Governor Abby Spanberger just won as a moderate in Virginia and then turned around and made it a sanctuary state while embracing pro-crime reforms and calling for a long list of new taxes, as well as a drastic partisan gerrymander she pretended not to support during the campaign. And she's the leader Democrats chose to answer Trump's State of the Union remarks. Meantime, the Dems who skipped the speech for counter rallies wound up surrounded by utter weirdness, including furries and the Portland Frog Brigade. The Republican Party is far from perfect, and the right hosts a few horrid loons like Candace Owens. This is what the New York Post board thinks. But she's isolated on the fringe, not on a podium with dozens of House Democrats, like the Froggies. With Trump in the White House and thin GOP majorities in Congress, it's easy for Americans to forget why they rejected the Democrats in 2024. With Tuesday's speech, the president set the stage for every Republican running this fall to help voters realize that the Dems haven't changed except to grow worse than ever. What? That is as blistering a rebuke you will get for Democrats in this country from a to the right publication, but certainly not fringe right. Look, it's very clear. It's common sense or crazy. Common sense or crazy. We've had crazy. Crazy doesn't work. In fact, when we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program in hour number 2, I think we're going to open the door to the actual victor. Yes, we saw the Olympians in the Capitol, but it was President Trump who won gold. How did Democrats not stand? Sean Duffy, the Secretary of Transportation, with perhaps one of the most poignant examples of how the left lost whatever kind of gains they think they've had since this president took office again by not standing for one very simple reason. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
You'll have to text me when you hear.
I know. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll save this for tomorrow. I've got a great healthy cell testimonial. I'm going to do that tomorrow. This is a really good one. How about this? Listen to this. This is about Dr. Simkovich. So there is a young woman I've known for the last 13 years. I did a story on her a while back in the day when I was still on television here locally in Pittsburgh. Did something on her daughters who were fighting for their lives, baby girls, twins. And this woman, their mom, just died. And it just has thrown me upside down. And so I asked mutual friends, what happened? And they said she had hurt her neck and had gone to a chiropractor and had gotten worse. Whatever that person did, she was never the same again. And I was thinking this morning as I'm working out in the gym, if only I could have gotten her to see Dr. Simkovich, because I know he would have saved her. He would have done something. I want to read this to you. Hey, Wendy, you and Brock have been my daily companions since the days of the BS board. In the early days of our relationship, blah, 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 I was living in Portland. Now I live blah, blah, blah. Recently, I convinced a friend of mine of more than 40 years to see Dr. Simkovich. I traveled the 2+ hours from Washington to meet my friend and accompany her to Pittsburgh. So they traveled her together. My friend has been in 3 serious car accidents, which have resulted in debilitating concussions. When we arrived at the Simkovich Concussion Institute, we weren't sure she would be able to be treated. My friend nearly broke into tears when Dr. Simkovich shared his diagnosis and said that he would start the treatment immediately. It's now a couple weeks since we arrived home. My friend testifies that she can see clearly. So much so that it shocks her every day. The headaches that have prevented her from enjoying her grandchildren are gone. She's convinced that that Dr. Simkovich addressed the issues she's had since birth. She says the experiencing has been life-changing. We will be back for a follow-up. And if you would spare a few minutes for coffee, I'd love to meet you. It was very sweet. Denise, I'm sorry we did not do that. 40 years. She was friends with this woman for 40 years. And this woman in multiple accidents. You know, you feel like you're never going to feel good again. Don't feel that way. Call. You have nothing to lose. Please. 412-366-3700. The pain can be very isolating. Very isolating. You don't have to. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com.
Hey, I got the forgot to tell you this morning, the form for softball. Were you in again? We in again?
Oh, they want us to sponsor them again.
Well, they're 2 years running in this champions.
You want to do it again?
Do I? Of course I do.
Okay, and so it shall be done. We will sponsor the Shaler area.
Etna Rams.
Yeah. And they have big Wendy Bell radio. I want to see, when do they normally play their playoffs? When is the season usually? I'm going to go back and...
You looking at the photos?
Yeah. I want to show, like, when would that have been? The summer, not of last year, but the year before?
When we went to the championship game?
Yeah. 24, maybe, because it was hot.
It was
scorching. I was sweating in very unladylike places. Let's see.
Oh, here's you with the team.
Oh, you got it. I want to see the shirts, though. I want to show them the shirts.
That's you with the team.
Look at that. Look at those girls. Ah, they're so cool. What year was that?
2024.
What date?
July 15th. I think I have we get the banner that hangs in their field.
It's right after my mom died. Mm-hmm.
Oh, here it is. So this is the front of the shirt.
Guess who just texted me and said he's going to sponsor him too?
Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the back of the shirt.
So, yes, our friend from Stinkies, Paul.
Who's fan? Paul.
Paul and Valerie.
Yeah, more Val, but you're more than
Hey,
generous.
Val, bring down the checkbook.
Yeah. Yeah.
She writes the check.
She wears the pants.
Oh, Paul. I'm in. That's all he wrote me. I'm in. I love that. And it was very sweet because one of the moms of the team, they weren't going to have this team. And one of the moms came up to me and she's like, we wouldn't have been able to have this experience if it wasn't for you guys sponsoring this team. And she said, and I started listening to you and I've become much more of an independent thinker. And I was like, nicest thing I've heard all week. Isn't that sweet? I was like, oh.
I remember your dad calling that day. And you were super happy to tell me you were sponsoring a team.
Yeah.
And he was super happy because he did it. You know, I'll text him today.
Well, shoot, if Paul wants to do it, I guess I'll have to do it.
What's that?
If Paul wants to do it, I guess I'll have to do it.
Way to go, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Money
Make sure you go
Paul.
to Stinky's and order beer so Paul can afford
Yeah,
it.
if you haven't been to Stinky's, go there. Go there. Get the wings. Get the buffalo chicken dip. Get a pizza. Get a burger. Oh, my
Paul,
God.
I still want to have a beer release party. I'm just planting it. Beer release party. Shut down Stinky's.
Yeah, but when do you do that? What day of the week do you do it? You just don't shut down a restaurant. And then you think that people will come. What if they don't? Right?
If you have it, they will come.
If I have it, they will come? That's not true. Maybe.
I know people that don't drink beer that said they'd come.
4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell. Inspiring solutions to save America one show at a time. Are you ready to get on board?
You told us when it could be time to panic. Well, is it time to panic? Well, let me just tell you, folks, it's never going to be time to panic because we're never going to give up. We're not going to give up on America. America's worth it. America is worth fighting for. America's worth not giving up. And while we have that attitude of not giving up, we are constantly going to be searching, strategizing, coming up with ways to prevail. We've got the basics. We have millions and millions of Americans that are fed up. Can't wait to do something about it. There will be a series of ideas that people come up with based on dealing with the fraud that we know we have to deal with. You're not alone. You're not a singular individual all by yourself out there trying to fight these people by yourself. There are 74 million plus and growing. We're not going to give up on America.
From sea to shining sea, 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. The Wendy Bell Radio Program.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell Radio Program is live and on the clock. I'm so delighted to be with you. WendyBellRadio.com. You know, by the end of March, we should hit 25 million video views, which is just mind-bending. And I'm so grateful to you guys. Thank you. There's been this weird reversal of decency. The Democrats have taken normal behavior and they've made it completely flip on its head. And it seems like the more crybaby, the more weird, the more angry, the more violent you are, the higher your stock rises in the party. I don't understand that. You know, going to church, everybody understands what is expected when you go to church or temple or wherever you worship, right? There is a system of understood norms that parents explain to their children without even saying a word. You look at your child and you give them that stink eye when they're foostering in the pew or they're doing something they shouldn't. It stops. They learn the process. You stand in line waiting for communion. You stand back here until it's your turn. You do this, you do that. This is the process. This is how we live in a civilized society. You know, I'm thinking about that this morning as my twins were getting ready to go to their friend's father's funeral. I told you about the viewing and the very special hug I got from their friend whose dad had passed. So I wrote them a note yesterday, the twins, for school. And I said, look, they're not going to be in school on Thursday. They'll be attending their friend's father's funeral. And it seems like a big chunk of the senior class is going to do that. So the boys were up as I was getting ready to come into the radio studio this morning, steaming their shirts and putting on their suits. I don't know, Mom, what tie do I wear? I've never been to a few. They were literally a little nervous. I think Bobby was. He's like, Mom, I don't know what tie to wear. I've got this blue suit. I don't know. You don't want to wear something bold, right? Something bright at a funeral. I'm like, nobody cares what you look like, sweetheart. They're not paying attention to you. They're there for your friend, his brother, and their mom. Don't worry about your tie. There are certain things that we do as a society together. You don't shout at church. You don't show up, scantily clad to certain events, right? You know what you do. You know the rules. Democrats want you to change all of that. And they want that to be the norm. They want weird people with tats all over them. And look, I love tattoos and whatever. You do you. It's not on me. You do you, right? But they want to make people as extreme, as odd as possible. And they glorify that and the behavior that follows, which is why we don't hear much about the transgender people who obviously go haywire inside and in the last couple of years have been the lion's share of our mass shooters. We're not going to talk about that. We should, but they don't want to talk about that. That's your new normal. Well, Sean Duffy, who was the guy who said, as the Secretary of Transportation, look, we got some problems with air traffic control. We got problems with this whole flight system. We need to reimagine it. We're going to fix it. We're going to make it safer. We're going to make it more efficient. We're making it better. But how about this viewing or flying public? How about we have some decorum and we don't show up in our pajamas catching a ride? Is it okay to go to Walmart any day of the week and see people not walking around with bedhead? Is it possible for you to maybe throw on some clothes and wash your face and brush your teeth? We've become slovenly. That's been the new normal. Well, Sean Duffy called this out with the behavior of the Democrats on Tuesday, and he said something very, very interesting. And Jake Tapper is the guy he's talking to over at CNN, who seems a little butthurt that Trump called the screaming Democrats crazy. And Sean Duffy, with complete decorum, nails it and calls the spade a spade. Listen.
He said, quote, these people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy. I mean, but that's not something we ever heard from Obama or Biden from that stage.
No, I mean, listen, we've never had a speaker rip up a speech either. But when you're saying issues like we're talking about trucking, we have, and it comes in my space, where you have states that are issuing driver's licenses to illegals who haven't been trained to drive a 80,000-pound truck on an American road. We have a little girl that had her life impacted for the rest of her life, and she's 5 years old, and it was an illegal who hit her. I think the question becomes, why doesn't every Democrat stand up and go, no, we want well-qualified drivers on American roads. That's not partisan. We don't want illegals who can't speak the language, contrary to American law for decades, to not be on American roads. I think those are easy issues, Jake, and I don't think we saw Democrats stand up and support them. We got some applause for the U.S. Olympic hockey team, but that was probably one of the only bipartisan moments of the night, which I think is too bad. Again, if inflation's down, Democrats should applaud it. If real incomes are up, Democrats should applaud it. Those are good things that we should support as Americans. And just because Donald Trump's in office doesn't mean you have to sit on your hands. You should applaud that because that's good for America.
Jake Tapper doesn't understand what he's saying. He's got this weird quizzical smirk on his face. I mean, wouldn't you rise if Joe Biden said at the State of the Union, we've got gas prices down under $2.50? Wouldn't you rise and applaud if he said, hey, we're going to look at some innovative ways to save for the future. We're going to start as young as possible. So all babies in the country are going to get a bonus, $1,000 put into a fund that only they can manage, and they can't touch it for a period of time until it expands and grows, right? Would you not stand for that? I would. Democrats can't. Lydia Moynihan, New York Post writer, is on a panel at CNN with Abby Phillip. And she's like, look, Rashida Tlaib wearing F ICE as a pin, or Ilhan Omar shouting the F word at the president of the United States is a horrendous look. And the American electorate isn't going to forget it.
I think Trump's entire speech was actually pretty unifying. I think Donald Trump's superpower is positioning himself as the common sense guy who's advocating for positions that the vast majority of Americans want. And there was one moment at the beginning where he invited the USA hockey team, and of course the crowd went wild chanting USA, USA, and then the camera panned to Rashida Tlaib, who appeared to be mouthing KKK. And then again, you had another moment where Trump says, stand up if you want to support American citizens over illegal aliens. And instead, Ilhan Omar is screaming and heckling the president. And those are the best kind of sound bites and visuals that the GOP can have for the midterms, because a lot of people might not like Donald Trump and might be kind of hemming and hawing. And then they look at the alternative and they say, oh, well, this really angry woman, gosh, I don't know about her. So that's what Trump set out to do.
That was my question.
Highlight the 80-20 issues.
Listen to Abby Phillip stomp all over her. Hey, Abby, how about you shut your mouth for a minute? Let somebody who's a conservative finish their comment. Because she interrupts them 93% of the time, by the way. Then there's Stephen A. Smith. You know, can you imagine if you had the Jack Hughes mentality from the USA men's hockey team? If you had the Team USA mentality from that hockey team as congresspeople? If you had that pro-America, I love America, I'm here for America, I will do whatever I can for her. Can you imagine if you could sprinkle even a little bit of that onto your congresspeople? How much better off we would be. Stephen A. Smith called it out. He's like, look, the president of the State of the Union proved why he is the kingmaker, because he made paupers out of Democrats in front of the world.
He set you up. He knew you weren't going to stand. He knew 73 of y'all were going to show up to other places and not show up to the State of the Union. He knew that a lot of Americans that were moderates on both sides of the aisle were going to look at y'all as being every bit as out of control as you claim he is. The difference is that he takes those positions and the heat that comes with it as the incumbent, the president in office. You couldn't keep him out. And he's making the claim that you hate him so much, you're devoid of objectivity, and you're devoid of thinking about what's in the best interest of the United States of America, because you're too busy thinking about your own personal feelings and animus towards him. And every time you do that, he smiles and mocks you and has a field day.
And how about, could you imagine if your United States congressmen and women, House and the Senate, if they spoke about America the way Jack Hughes did last night when he was back on the ice for the new... Shouldn't loving America be a prerequisite to be in Congress? And shouldn't saying F you to the president be a disqualifier? You're off the team. I think so. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, what a difference 30 years makes. You'll understand what I'm talking about. A little flashback to Bill Clinton next. Darn it, I meant to bring in some gold. How you doing? I forgot. I'm sorry. I had a guy at my house today and I got sidetracked. But I was going to bring in another gold coin. They're so cool. I'm going to tell you, look, I had a tattoo at one point in my life when I was much younger. And I had it removed, which was so painful because it ended up looking terribly. My skin had the ink all got blurry, and it was a dumb decision, and I didn't like what it was anyway. So I was like, I went through the process of it's addictive. I can tell you that once you have a tattoo, you want more tattoos. It's like riding a Harley Davidson motorcycle. Once you're on it and you feel the vibration, you're like, oh my gosh, how do I buy one of these? Once you have gold, you're like, oh my God, I need more gold. It's addictive because they are such beautiful coins, such beautiful gold buffaloes, gold bars. But it's not just gold and silver is off the charts. It's been a phenomenal investment. This is just one of those things. It's a great way to think about diversifying how you invest your money, where you keep your money. If you're sitting on money in your savings account right now that's earning like 0.04% in the next 20 years, why not consider calling 855-927-5557? Call my friends at wendylovesgold.com and be like, look, I've got some money. I want to get some stuff. What can I get? And they'll be like, well, tell me about you. What are you thinking about? What do you like? What are your passions? What are your kids? Where do you blah, blah, blah. And they'll come up with a portfolio of the most glorious and exciting coins you'll ever see. I have coins. I have bars. I've got bricks of silver. It is so much fun. And look, if you've got the money, and I know a lot of you do, and you're like, yeah, I can't take it with me. What are we going to do with this? It is such a glorious way to expand your mind and to have gold and silver and platinum and palladium in your hot little hands. 855-927-5557. I trust wendylovesgold.com. I've bought from them twice. I'll probably buy from them again because I trust them. And you can too. You can too. wendylovesgold.com.
People are throwing money at you.
Are they? $50? Who's throwing $50 at me?
Frederick Douglas threw $5. He says thank you.
Oh.
Lady in Pink's and 20.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you for my order of Blood Flow 7. Charlie's Crazy Grandma 20. Happy birthday, Michael. Go Eagles for the win.
Let's go Eagles.
And
that's so nice.
John gave $50 for the bad news gold duster. I tried to get them to change.
John, you're so sweet. Thank you. Are you using Rumble Wallet? That's all I have to say. If you're throwing money at me, are you using your Rumble Wallet? Because if you're not, Rumble is taking 40%. Sorry to say it, which sucks, but it's true.
Is it that high?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Rumble Wallet. I don't have time right now, do I?
Toolsy, go Eagles. You got 53 seconds.
Nah. That's very nice of you guys. Thank you. See, people just throw money at us. It's crazy how that happens. I'm telling you, somebody is going to leave me in their will.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say,
They're
if
gonna.
you have money to throw around in gold and silver to give away from Texas Bullion, give them the P.O. box. I'll take it.
Just remember me when you're like, I really don't like my family. Who should I give my estate to?
Well, Brock only makes $4.
Duh. You'll be like, that one.
It's the Gold and Silver Help Brock Retire Fund.
Oh, you guys are great. I love you. I love these sound bites. Some of these sound bites were fantastic. Now kind of split screen thing, you know, when you're scrolling through your social media and a blurb comes up and it starts with something from today that some people are like, oh, that's so outrageous. And then it cuts to something that happened 30 years ago that was the exact same thing, but the other party. And everyone was like, yeah, that's right. Perfect. Just to show you the hypocrisy. This is one of those then and now things, right? I want to play it for you because I think it's pretty interesting. It's going to start with the president at the State of the Union and only Republicans standing when he says the first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. And so it goes then to all of the Republicans standing and cuts to the Democrats not standing. And then it's going to cut to Bill Clinton 30 years ago. I think this was 1995. There's a Bill Clinton State of the Union where the Democrat Clinton is talking about the dangers that illegal aliens pose to America. And the entire chamber, Republicans and Democrats, all rise. I wonder why, because everybody who's on Team America is down with what this president is saying, regardless of his politics.
The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
Not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace, as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
It's just not complicated. You know, before we run long here, I want to play you this. No. I want to tell you about a video that I ran long on. And this is the president and this administration doing something so much more adeptly than they did during their first term. Their comms team is off the charts. From the people who put together their memes, to those who put together the short videos, to those who decided that every single one of the cabinet members in this administration before the State of the Union would sit down before a camera and explain to the American people, look, this is the State of the Union and it is strong. And every single one, Lori Chavez-DeRemer, you know, you've got all of the cabinet members from Sean Duffy, Pete Hegseth, every single one of them saying the State of the Union, what we are doing, it is good and it is right and it is just, and you voted for it. And we're going to deliver to you what we promised, the very best America we know how. And if there was an Olympic-style video to share with you the focus and the determination of an unflappable cabinet that has not seen tumultuous changes. Why? Because they're all skating for the same purpose. And that's for gold. The symbolism of gold is very interesting as we march towards America's 250th birthday. And the president says all the time, the golden age is upon us. That was Trump who won the gold on Tuesday. You know, when we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, we got to talk about this because it's ridiculous. The Biden FBI spied on its future director, Kash Patel, while he was a private citizen. Why ever would they do that? And what's the punishment? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. All right. Let's see what I got for you guys. There we go. All right. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about bodybyAim360.com real fast. And it's easy for a lot of people who don't live in Pennsylvania to glaze over this. If I told you you could go to the doctor right now, maybe you could give some blood, and in a couple, maybe a week, maybe two, you would get the most extensive expose of what's going on inside of your body that you'll ever have in your life. Would you think it was worth $99? I mean, if it told you all about stuff like cholesterol, if it told you about all of the hormones in your body, if it told you about all these biomarkers that basically tell you and tell the tale of how you feel, wouldn't you want to know? Because that blood test tells you why you haven't been able to lose weight, even no matter what you do, right? I could eat celery for the rest of my life and then my scale is not going down. What is the problem? This blood test opens up the door to the answers for you. And then this blood test also allows you to get on a weight loss program that Brock was on that allowed him to lose 70 pounds. Some people lose 40, some people lose 70, some people lose over 100, but they lose because the program works. Why does it work? Because it's based on your blood. It's based on what you are deficient in. And then they can create IVs for you. Literally IVs. You go in and in 20 minutes, the IV that's made for you is to fight all of those deficiencies that your blood work showed. And then what happens? All of a sudden you have less inflammation. You have less gut pain, less gas, less bloating. And oh my, you start to lose weight. It's amazing. They have, by the way, they have the weight loss drugs for you if you're interested in the shots, if you're interested in the Ozempic style, but they also have those medicines in oral form. So if you're not down with the shots, there's a lot of things at your fingertips at bodybyAIM360.com. 412-227-9255. 412-227-9255. They actually have a contact form you can fill out on the website to see what's necessary for you to be able to get a prescription for the weight loss shots. BodybyAIM360.com. I have to go to the bathroom, but I'm going to wait.
You have 3.5 minutes.
I know, but I have overalls.
Oh, okay.
Overalls take a little. This is the dumbest thing to wear when traveling, especially on a plane, because if you have to go into one of those little lavatories and then you have to hold all the things so they don't dump into the toilet. I saw a woman, she had a really cute outfit on, but it was like a leotard. It was like a unitard. So it had like spaghetti straps, cute little top down. She had a great body and it was perfect on her. And I was like, how is that to go to the bathroom on a plane? She's like, yeah, I didn't think about that when I wore that today. I'm not going to go. That's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
The benefit of being a man.
100%. There are many, many benefits, I will say. Though I would say most people don't call you fabulous when you're a man. So I don't know. What else is going on in the world, Brock? What are we doing?
Are we scrapping the thing you just described?
I'm not using it presently.
Okay.
High 5,500 people, low numbers today, but pretty low rumbles too. 226. Can we get to 2.5? Honest to goodness, can we get to 2.5? That would be super duper. That's the little bubble with a thumbs up underneath the video box. And all of our sponsors, we're going to have a new one coming up.
When are they coming on?
March 1.
She's super excited about this product. I've heard about it for the last week.
I pursued them. Yes. You're going to love it. I don't even hope that you're going to love it. I know you're going to love it. So I used the product that I'm going to be promoting, and I used it up. So I've been using it for 6 months. And when I used it up, I was like, I literally was despondent because I'm trying to get more of it out of the thing, and I couldn't get any more. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing?
I like the story you told about them. They're husband and wife with little kids. They've grown out of the kitchen, and
yeah, it's skincare line, but it's not like acne wrinkles. It's more like oils and body butters and lotions, and having like an oil on your hands and not being greasy is a challenge. Like, it doesn't exist. It does with this company. And if you've got dry, cracked feet, or you've got terrible dryness in your hands because of the weather or what have you, I'm so geeked.
yeah, I've been hearing about it. The most recent, I heard about it at the very beginning when she was using it. Yeah, this oil's these things are great. I'm like, oh yeah, great. They have
I'm
a
not.
men's line?
I'm not big in all that stuff. I'm not like a big essential oils. Like go
And the
online
last week it's been ramped up
and buy
every day.
boutique-y, skincare stuff. Like I use Genucel on my face. That's what I use. And I use nothing. But this, you're not 55, and you haven't gone through menopause. So,
well, if you're going to be that way.
If I'm going to be that way, let's get to 2.5. Let's go. We have 2.34. We need
for the
160 for the Villa Madonna Eagles. Let's go. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. I think the more we pay attention to anything that Democrats accuse the president or the Republicans of doing, it's clearly what they are doing. So when they say, oh, they're weaponizing government, you know darn well that is what the Democrats have been doing for a while. Certainly, they've been weaponizing the government after this president, for sure. But some of this new stuff, I want to read this to you. And I wanted to go and find, some kind of lefty organization or publication to read to you their take on what bombshell information we're about to say. I'm reading this to you from Reuters. Here it is. FBI obtained Kash Patel and Susie Wiles' phone records during Biden administration. Well, Kash Patel, is the director of the FBI. Susie Wiles is President Trump's chief of staff. Why ever would you be looking into their phone records during the middle of the Biden administration, right? Donald Trump had not announced yet that he was running again. Why would you be getting information and spying on them? Why did they have to spy on President Trump? Why did they have to raid Mar-a-Lago? What were they looking for? What did they need? What are they hungry for? They're hungry for anything they can get that will be a reason to sink this president. Here's how Reuters describes this story, and it is weaponizing 101, period. It is treasonous, it is traitorous, it is unbelievable, it is unacceptable. The FBI subpoenaed records of phone calls made by Kash Patel and Susie Wiles, now the FBI director and the White House chief of staff, when they were both private citizens in 2022 and 2023 during the federal probe of Donald Trump, Patel told Reuters on Wednesday. So you've got the head of the FBI telling Reuters this is what's going on. Reuters is the first to report on the FBI's actions that took place during the Biden administration, largely when special counsel Jack Smith was investigating whether Trump had interfered with the 2020 election and had hidden classified documents at Mar-a-Lago, according to Patel. Smith was appointed to take over that probe in November of 2022. Are you kidding me? You're doing anything you can to try to dredge up something on this guy. We can't get anything from the president's records. My God, is there anything Kash Patel has? Is there anything his chief of staff might have? And she wasn't even his chief of staff. Well, I want you to hear John Solomon adjust the news because he broke this yesterday. And he's like, look, the weaponizing of the intelligence agencies against conservatives becomes more and more troubling by the day.
Just a few minutes ago, FBI officials confirmed to Just the News that the Bureau spied on its future director, Kash Patel, back when he was a private citizen in 23 by getting his phone records. That's right. He wasn't the only one around President Trump that happened to. They also did it to current White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles. Sources telling us that both of those phone record seizures were through grand jury subpoenas and were focused on allegations involving the classified documents case against President Trump. That's the one that eventually led to the raid at Mar-a-Lago, then the appointment of Jack Smith, then the indictment of President Trump related to those documents that were found at his home, and then the dismissal of the case. Now, this is a pretty significant piece of information, not only because the Bureau was spying on its future leader, but also because at the end of the day, there's no evidence that Kash Patel or Susie Wiles did anything wrong. They were never charged. They were never accused of any wrongdoing. But their phone records rifled through, like now we know 8 or 9 members of Congress, scores of targets in the January 6th investigation. The dragnet of the FBI, the Justice Department, the intelligence community against all people who were conservative or associated with President Trump widens by the day. The behavior of those agencies, particularly under Joe Biden, becoming more troubling by the day.
It's absolutely ridiculous. The only way Democrats can win is by making up fake news stories about Republicans, about wiretapping, making up dossiers, fake stories of Russian collusion. By wiretapping them, digging through their phone records, digging through their emails, or by staging events and forcing people who are there, who are largely conservative, to respond, i.e. January 6th. Look, this isn't the only big story. The weaponizing under Christopher Wray, the weaponizing under the Biden administration is so egregious, especially when we talk about this. John Solomon breaks a second monster story, this one about Fani Willis from Fulton County, Georgia, colluding with the Biden White House to destroy then private citizen Donald Trump. Say what? We long suspected this. This is now proof.
This has been breaking in the last hour or so. We are told that, according to Kash Patel, the FBI director, the prior bureau leadership obtained his phone records and phone records to current White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles back in 2022 and 2023. This eventually led into the Jack Smith special counsel investigation into then former President Donald Trump. We're told that some of these records are just toll records, which don't have specific information other than times and dates. They don't have the actual content of calls, but two sources in the FBI say that Susie Wiles' attorney agreed to be recorded by FBI agents in 2023. She did not agree. We've reached out to her for comment. FBI Director Patel, in a statement to Fox News, calls this outrageous and deeply disturbing. And I will add, Brett, that we are told at least 10 Bureau employees have been fired just today over this incident, with more potentially to come.
I got ahead of myself. One audio soundbite. I beg your pardon. The Fani Willis clip is coming up right now from John Solomon. But think about what he's saying. This isn't just, it's deeply disturbing. These words aren't strong enough. This is traitorous. This is extending well beyond the parameters of government. This is weaponizing what you believe is your power and your control to destroy your political enemies by whatever avenue possible. And then when you dial in a state investigation, Fani Willis's into Donald Trump, when you collude federal government with state agencies and there's bribery involved, wait a minute, what? Yeah, here's John Solomon on that case.
And on that note, a second story that I know you probably heard about, it was trending all day on social media. We're calling it the Fani Files. That's right. Georgia's former prosecutor, the current Fulton County District Attorney, Fani Willis, was indeed plotting all along with the Biden White House, the Biden Justice Department, and the January 6th Democrat Committee to plan her case against Donald Trump and his associates, those who were involved in protesting election results. Now, we all think in America we have protection from double jeopardy, meaning we're not going to be prosecuted twice for the same crimes. But what you see in the new documents that Just the News obtained with the help of the America First Legal Institute, tremendous public interest law firm, we spent 3 years fighting for these documents. Fani Willis claimed they were privileged, claimed they should be redacted, claimed we weren't entitled. We ultimately won them, 8,000 pages in all. You got to see them this morning. Is that the Biden White House worked with Fani Willis and said, listen, we'll pierce President Trump's executive privilege. You can have anything you want. Now, that's very rare. Executive privilege is almost never pierced for a state prosecution or state civil case. Secondly, the Justice Department said, you want access to our people? No problem. We'll sign 2 agreements and allow you to get our best people to testify before your state grand jury. Then the January 6th committee said, come on down, get any documents you want, any videos you want. We'll help you make the case.
It's all a giant fishing expedition, ladies and gentlemen, and they caught nothing. They hooked nothing. They couldn't even get a bite. And there was the exchange of money. The Biden Justice Department invited Fulton County DA Fani Willis to apply for a lucrative sole source grant in 2022 at the same time that she was pursuing an election. interference investigation against Donald Trump, the eventual GOP competitor to President Biden. Internal correspondence obtained by Just the News reveals. They said to her, hey, how about a couple $1 million? $2 million will provide you this grant. You don't even have to really apply for it. But we're going to feed you some information, and our ultimate goal is to find anything we can to take down Donald Trump. What do you say? You want to talk about collusion? You want to talk about weaponizing? You want to talk about doing whatever you can to destroy your political enemy, for which they allege Donald Trump did the same thing and was impeached the first time? It's all here. Hook, line, and sinker. John Solomon with the bribery part of it.
Then, as you're going to learn tomorrow, Fani Willis's office was offered a grant. Literally, the Justice Department said, hey, just apply for this grant. We'll give it to you as a sole source. All right, so some money is exchanging during the same time frame. And then Jack Smith brings his federal case against Donald Trump. And then right after it, Fani Willis, just a few weeks later, brings a state case, basically double jeopardizing Donald Trump and all of his colleagues in these cases, double draining the legal resources and the reputational stock that those people had by twice indicting them, and then creating a dual-barreled investigation and prosecution. Now, at the end of the day, both cases ended up getting dismissed, as you know. But millions of dollars in legal bills were spent, reputations were ruined, and now we're seeing a triumvirate, a triple-headed siren working together. Congressional Democrats, Justice Department, and White House under Biden working with a Democrat prosecutor in Georgia to create that scenario.
And you know, the award that the Justice Department under Joe Biden invited Fani Willis to apply for, it was a very interesting for at-risk youth. It was the Office of Justice Programs Community-Based Violence Intervention and Prevention Initiative grant. Nothing like brevity there, from which her office ultimately received $2 million to, quote unquote, implement its programs. If anybody out there was interested in seeing where that money went, $2 million to Fani Willis, to the DA's office, to reportedly help at-risk youth, get off the street, do one of something. I wonder if that went into any of Fani Willis's transportation funds, her travel funds that she and Nathan Wade maybe dipped into to travel the world while she was simultaneously trying to skewer President Trump and basically provide the necessary blow to render him unelectable. Well, sadly, she failed. But now you've got a DOJ under Pam Bondi who damn well better be digging into this. I'm sure the indictments are coming. Right. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, my friends, you know the GOP is already campaigning off of that State of the Union, off of Trump's gold medal performance at it. And that one question, oh yeah, didn't take long. I got the details next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Think about it. Everything they've accused this president of doing, right? What has he done? Came down the escalator. He said, I've got to do a better job than these idiots. I'm not corrupt. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not part of the deep state. I believe in America. I think we could bring it back. I think I have the expertise. I think we could build a team. And if you believe me and you get behind me, I promise you I'll do everything I can and I'll let you down. Right? And what did they do? They went haywire. Tried to kill him. Tried to plant evidence on him, right? Create all these fake news stories, all this propaganda bullcrap. And it still didn't work. What a shame. Stephen A. Smith called it out, and you still couldn't keep him from coming back.
No, I'd like a poll done on this. The amount of Americans that believe Hillary Clinton. AP is reporting Hillary Clinton in testimony says she has no information on Jeffrey Epstein's criminal activities and never recalls meeting him.
Not even at Chelsea's wedding.
Maybe he didn't go to Chelsea's wedding. But Ghislaine Maxwell did.
Mm-hmm. She's in Canada right now hanging out with Wayne. Probably.
Apparently that was debunked.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Which means it's true.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right? They don't even get good actors. Like, remember the actors that were supposed to be John Fetterman?
Yeah. One
That
guy
had
had
to-
a lump.
It was ridiculous. I'm like, what? You've got Lurch? And what are we doing? One looked like a zombie. And we're like, that's not even close. In Ghislaine Maxwell's doppelganger, had like the super wide nose. Even if you're just kind of looking at her, you're like, that doesn't even look remotely like her. And apparently there's no new information on the Nancy Guthrie case. So that's just going to fizzle. You're supposed to forget about that. That was a 4-week, 5-week.
I forgot about it after the
smoke screen.
10th.
Yeah, well,
Fox News
apparently
alert.
the Epstein files wasn't enough. Apparently the CEO of the World Economic Forum, some guy named Hans, Jagoff, he's now resigned because of his connections with the Epstein file, because of the stuff that the Democrats forced the DOJ to release. And so the fallout of these elite Democrat lefties, right, wagging their fingers at you, your climate emergency, right?
Why can't, now I know lie detectors aren't admissible in court, right? But why, when we put these people in front of a deposition on like Hillary Clinton, just hook her up?
You would think it should be easier than this.
Did you know about Monica? That's your baseline question.
Right, let's see how you do with that.
Not what's your name, because she'll lie about that. But
Do you still like cigars?
don't ruin it for me.
I know, I'm sorry. God. That was rude.
That was.
So as we talk about weight loss and various products that are out there, my friends at Juvenon have created a product called GLP-1 Gold. And I want to tell you about this, a hormone called GLP-1 that plays the major role in telling your brain that you're full and to stop eating. And when that hormone isn't getting that signal, or it needs to be boosted a little bit, that's where this isn't it, but it's from this company, GLP-1 Gold. This is where the GLP-1 Gold comes in, because it's a supplement designed to support natural GLP-1 pathways using researched plant extracts tied to appetite regulation, metabolic signaling, and blood sugar balance. How nice to have your blood sugar managed, to have all this stuff done without taking pharmaceutical products that might make you feel weird, that have weird side effects that you don't even know about, right? Juvenon's bloodflow7.com/Wendy, 30% off. Use Wendy30 as the code. Everything on the site. Look for GLP-1 Gold. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program, my friends. You know, President Trump and what we all saw through the longest State of the Union address in American history was a lot of love of country. I didn't hear anything divisive. I heard him call out people who were behaving poorly. John Fetterman knew he wasn't supposed to wear a Carhartt hoodie to the State of the Union. He understood the rules. He could read the room, right? But not some of the others. And of course, now we know that the GOP is going to campaign like gangbusters. In fact, I already saw the first ad. And it's literally President Trump saying, please stand if you agree with this. And the Democrats nod. It's already out there. And that's just going to be the beginning. Washington Examiner did a pretty interesting article, GOP to campaign on Democrats picking illegal immigrants over Americans at the State of the Union. The president is a genius when it comes to marketing. He knows how to, as the CEO of the USA, market the brand. He knows people want to be a part of it. He understands what it's all about. He understands how to trigger people on the left, because it doesn't take much. National Republicans believe they were handed an early midterm elections present during Tuesday's State of the Union. And President Trump baited Democrats into going on the record and imposing that the duty of the federal government is to protect U.S. citizens and not illegal immigrants. The House GOP's campaign arm is already betting the split screen moment will resonate with voters and plans to use the viral moment to portray Democrats in must-win seats as out of touch. Well, you might want to dig up some of the dancing frog video that might help you with some of your edits. Every single vulnerable House Democrat should get comfortable rewatching the moment that they revealed they're nothing more than American-hating scum who stayed glued to their seats while President Trump called on him protecting American citizens over criminal illegal immigrants. That was the National Republican Campaign Committee spokesperson Mike Marianella. He said in a statement to the Washington Examiner, the ads write themselves. It's true. I mean, I dislike Nancy Pelosi strongly. I can't envision a world in which my hands would shake, my blood pressure would rise, my jaw would clench to the point where I gave myself a headache, and I would feel that my number one job of the day is to go out in 30-degree weather and go protest and throw rocks at people because of it. Democrats feel that way. It is pathological. I don't understand it. But the NRCC is all over it. They're prevented by election regulations from using footage of the House floor and campaign ads. The prohibition will likely force GOP groups to get creative, as they won't be able to use the actual clip of Trump and the seated Democrats. Interesting how that works. But on Wednesday, the National Republican Committee sent out emails and press releases targeting vulnerable Democrats on the issue, including Representative Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez from Washington, Adam Gray from California, and Henry Cuellar from Texas for remaining seated. These people are going to get picked off, right? Proverbially in these ads. Unlike President Trump, there is no proverbial picking off. They actually find people and groom people and convince them that their greatest patriotic act is to try to do whatever possible to kill President Trump. You know, it's one thing when desperation and depravity is exhibited on live TV in the Capitol. But it's another thing when that depravity and that desperation takes root in a young person who believes his or her value, his virtue standing in the party is to be the martyr who goes and ends President Trump, or who walks around a corner and puts bullets in the brains of National Guards members, right? We've crossed well beyond knowing what is decorum and knowing what is acceptable and unacceptable. We're now at Project Desperation. That is what the Democrats are going to be foisting upon the American people. Whatever we can do, whoever has the landmines, whatever we can sprinkle, I don't care. How toxic it is, I don't care. That is where they are. And consequently, this cannot be the next several months, the Republicans resting on laurels of video proving how out of touch these Democrats are. They got to go out and do something. And that means doing something with the SAVE Act. That means holding Senate Republicans' feet to the fire. That means John Thune doing more than saying, you know, I'm not so sure we have enough time to get this SAVE Act thing across the finish line. And then showing us the pet parade in the Senate where all of the senators, you know, march their dogs across, you know, across some stage for people in the Senate. Well, what are we doing? Force Democrats to filibuster. Force them to express to the American people why they don't believe it's in the interest of America to prove you are an American, to be able to vote in our elections. Make them say it. See, as filthy as the Democrats can be, the real problem is the Republicans. The real problem is the fossils. The real problem is that. And we're going to talk about it when we come back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell Radio program. Hours after the president named him America's fraud czar. You want to talk about action? Vice President J.D. Vance and Mehmet Oz team up to tell Minnesota, yeah, about your $260 million. You're not getting it. Next. I'll be right back.
In fairness too, I want Thune. Tell us who the Republicans are, and call them out too. Be like, hey, if you're in Alaska, and do it on Fox News. Every time you're up there giving your stupid speeches that nobody cares about because you're not talking about what the American people want, get up there and say, if you're in Alaska, call your senator, call Lisa Murkowski. If you're in Utah and you're not happy with your senator, call him. He needs to call out the Republicans too, and not just put it on the Democrats. Put it on the Republicans too. Because they're really the ones holding it up. The Tom Tillises. Granted, he's not running again, so he probably doesn't give two shits about it. And it's any way you can screw Trump. But you're screwing the American people. This isn't about Donald Trump anymore. The American people want it. It's if you why not, and someone can maybe school me on this, but why not make it a ballot referendum? You see them do it in states all the time, ballot referendums. Make it a national thing. This is going to be on the ballot. How do you feel about voter ID? Let the people choose. 85% of the people, which is probably why they won't do it. But how do you vote against what your constituents want? It blows my mind. You're there to represent what they want. All right.
All right. So I quickly kind of gave you that GLP-1 gold idea, but I'm going to tell you, these products from our sponsors are meant to more naturally and healthfully help you lose weight. And what's wild about these products, including the one from Blood Flow 7, the GLP-1 gold, it's really intended for people who have a hell of a lot of weight to lose. So these products have been tested to help with that, right? Without weird questions about side effects, because you're not taking pharmaceuticals. You don't need a prescription. There's stuff in nature that does amazing stuff for us, and maybe we should get back to that. GLP-1 Gold, that is the product from Blood Flow 7 that I love, that I know that Jack has used with some really nice effects. 10 pounds in no time. All right. How are you guys? What's going on? Did we finally hit 2.5? Oh, thank God. Like, it's a total struggle. You guys were killing it in the first hour, and then it's like, but we were number 5 yesterday, I think 5 or 6. Al, what did you say we were, babe? Let's see. Super excited about our new sponsor. Let's see where to go. Who gets a spider bite on their knuckle? Isn't that weird? Look at how big that is. Hold on, focus. No, focus on me. Focus on my hand. This big lump. Thought of being bitten by a bug while you're sleeping. Yuck. Let's see. So did you see our friend Wombat took our mugs to Waffle House for breakfast? Was it Waffle House?
Yes.
That's just the great. I'm going to see if I can pull this up on my phone for you, because I just think that is the cutest daggone thing.
Wow. Amanda's barking orders at me.
What?
Reminder, good news and bad jokes.
Oh. I don't think she's barking orders.
It was barking. That's how I took it. That's all that matters.
How cute is that?
Look at the cheese on those fries.
Okay. That right there is giving me cramps. That's my stomach going, arr, 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 arr.
Yeah. You'd be renting that for an hour.
Yeah, I do that. That's true. As gross as that
Not
is
every
to talk
time.
about. No, that's true. Not every time. Let's see.
Hey, before we had breakfast, didn't Joe be like, oh boy. Oh boy, we're going to a diner. And he's like, oh, you're going to have to stop at least twice on the way. When we went to pick up the mugs, we went to Bedford.
Oh my God.
She texts Joe, oh, we didn't go to this place. It closed, blah, 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 blah. Joe's like, oh, you're going to have to stop twice on the way home.
I can't help it. My stomach revolts against greasy, fabulous food. I love it. You
And then
put
she bragged
gravy
about
on-
not stopping.
You put gravy on anything, and I'd be like,
sausage gravy.
I like brown gravy. I like sausage gravy. I love all gravy.
Chicken fried steak.
How about
Mmm.
crispy tater tots? Okay, with a little bit of bacon, a little bit of cheese on top.
When's that? I'm there.
My mouth is watering.
Yeah, when is
Gravy.
that day?
No, Fatty Bobalatti's wide seat doesn't need any help with that.
Trust me, you won't. If I'm there,
Poor
you
Joe.
won't get any.
He was so cute. He was like, you realize that you've changed a lot in the last 10 years. I'm like, that's not helpful.
God, I wish I'd have known that conversation. Be like, hey Joe, wide seat.
Oh, that's rude. No, I just don't like having things that go up my butt. Like nobody likes a bathing suit that's a creeper. Who
Wide
likes
seat, Wendy. Hey, I don't have a seat, so consider yourself lucky.
Really? It seems like such a backhanded compliment, doesn't it?
No.
It's not really.
Not really. I just have to invest in belts.
3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. You know, I think as Americans, we can say that one of the frustrations we have with government is when they tell us they're going to do something and then nothing gets done. So we want action. We want results. We want to identify and be honest about the problems we face, about the shortcomings out there, about the fraud and the abuse of the system, and then fix it. Identify it, fix the problem. It's how we feel about voting. It's why the SAVE Act is here, right? Anybody out there who doesn't believe that 2020 wasn't ridiculously fiddled with is just kidding themselves. I was going to say something much meaner, but I'm not going to do that. You're just kidding yourself. If you think that everything that happened in 2020 was on the up and up, you either are burying your head or you're being willfully blind. One or the other, or you're just dumb. I don't know. This whole idea of fraud having to stop. When President Trump at the State of the Union said, look, we've got an issue, and the issue has to stop. It's so in your face, we're going to stop it. And then he said, you know what? I'm going to have J.D. Vance be the fraud czar. I'm like, I'm all about that. And then literally within hours, boom, there's a press conference. And there's J.D. Vance, Vice President of the United States, standing at a podium being like, we're done with the fraud. And there's Dr. Oz, like not on my bingo card. Never thought that John Fetterman beating Mehmet Oz in Pennsylvania's Senate race would give us a fine Democrat senator with common sense in John Fetterman and an extraordinary administrator of the Medicaid Services division of the government. And yet that's what we have. And we have a vice president who's now leading this fraud charge. So Vance and Oz make a dramatic move withholding $259.5 million in Minnesota Medicaid funds in the first battle in the war on fraud. I'm going to set you up and then I'm going to give you a little bit of their sound because it's very common sense. This isn't complicated. We have to stop the fraud. We can't afford the fraud. It's insulting and it robs actual people who really need help. Vice President J.D. Vance announced Wednesday that $259.5 million in Medicaid funds for Minnesota won't be reimbursed due to fraud concerns, giving Democrat Governor Tim Walz 60 days to submit a corrective action plan or face further withholdings. I mean, only in a Democrat hellscape could a bad governor as corrupt and poor as Tim Walz fancy himself United States Senate material. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Vance was joined by Mehmet Oz, administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, to make the announcement, which was first reported by blah, blah, blah. The men also announced a national pause on firms that can seek subsidies through Medicare for durable medical equipment like canes and walkers. So you've got like a threefold, like a triple play of fraud. You've got the autism thing in which, and you're going to hear this, young, primarily immigrant women who are having babies are being bribed, paid to lie and say that their children were autistic. So all of a sudden you've got this huge boom in autism centers and all this other stuff. By the way, 500 of them in Minnesota. 500 of them. And when they were asked to reapply to show certification and whatnot, only 6 of them could. Well, the other 494, what were they? Fraudulent? Probably. And they've been bilking the federal government for reimbursement for services that weren't rendered. Autism, then you've got hospice, it's huge in California, and then you've got the medical equipment, right? You've got the canes, you got the walkers, we need the special product. These are all ways that the government's been fleeced. I want you to hear in this audio soundbite, Vice President J.D. Vance. He says, look, far too many people have gotten rich because the American people are the most generous, kind, good people. It's wrong, and now it stops.
One of the things I love about our country is that we're a generous country. We're a generous people. We take care of our fellow citizens who can't afford medical care because they're down on their luck. We take care of people who can't afford to put food on the table even though they work hard and play by the rules. We recognize that we're all in this together, and part of the reason why we have Medicaid, or part of the reason why we have food stamps, part of the reason why we have these programs is we want to make sure that kids who grow up in families not all that different from the family that I grew up in, that they have access to the basic necessities: food, medical care, after-school services when their family needs them, but they're unable to pay. What's happening in Minneapolis, in California, in a number of states all across our country is that the generosity and the good hearts of our fellow Americans are being taken advantage of. We're taking that social contract that says that our American citizens, we take care of one another, and we're allowing a few bad actors to get rich off that generosity of spirit instead of providing the services to the kids who need it. This is disgraceful. It has happened for too long. Far too many people have gotten rich by taking what is the best of the American spirit and getting rich off of it instead of providing services to kids who need it. That is stopping today.
Damn right. So $260 million. The federal government is withholding it. It's the money that the federal government is supposed to pay the state, Minnesota, for the low-income Medicaid program in the past fiscal quarter. The deferment of the money, though, focuses on 14 programs identified as having a high risk of fraud, including autism care, at-home rehabilitation, non-emergency medical transports, and night supervision. Okay? I want you to hear Dr. Oz. He's talking about the autism fraud. And you know what's awful about this? It's almost like the Somalians were imported to this country from Barack Obama to be a go-between through which fraud can occur. That they can be the face of it, they can be alleged the recipients of it, but they're actually the pawns. of it. Listen to what Dr. Oz says and think about what you feel.
Adjudicated numbers. There's a fraud scheme in Minnesota where criminals, soon to be criminals, pay moms $1,000 roughly in order to enroll their children as being autistic, falsely, dishonestly claiming their children are autistic. They then bill Medicaid, this has already happened, millions of dollars for services that were never rendered, never delivered by a qualified staff member. These schemes disproportionately involve immigrant communities. They're insulated, they're able to organize efforts, and sometimes they don't understand what's going on. And it ultimately diverts resources away from kids who truly have autism. Because if every kid in the neighborhood has autism, then nobody has autism in terms of how you can manage them. There was one behavioral, and by the way, these kids, they carry that diagnosis of autism the rest of their lives. Their mom made a bad decision, the kid pays the price for the rest of their life.
Isn't that amazing? The people who tell us, we got to do it for the kids. It's all about protecting kids. It's about protecting immigrants. We got to be right for the immigrants. They're using kids and immigrants as conduits through which they can get money. It's diabolical. It's disgusting. It's so clear, right? It's so clear. Dr. Oz continues and he goes, look, this is how outrageous the left, like how off the charts the left is from the American people.
There's one behavioral health organization, Mr. Vice President, in Minnesota. They received $11.5 million in Medicaid payments, but the top biller submitted 450 days where they claimed they were working more than 24 hours a day. I mean, even in the White House, that's tough. It's hard to work more than 24 hours a day. How it didn't get picked up is shocking to us at CMS. There are other red flags in Minnesota, including hundreds of beneficiaries receiving treatment linked to one location, which was impossible physically to be true. We had 8 beneficiaries in one of these substance use disorder centers, 8 who were already dead, but the center was still billing us. Not only did they let the person pass, they kept billing for it. That's the level of average we're talking about. So CMS is done paying and chasing. We don't think jail sentences are the right way out. These criminals flee the country. Many are foreign nationals. Instead, we're launching the largest action against fraud that we've ever taken.
I think almost the Somalians are like Karine Jean-Pierre. Remember her? She was the unimpeachable press secretary for Joe Biden after Jen Psaki left. And why was she unimpeachable? Well, she had the trifecta. 1, she was a woman. 2, she was black. 3, actually 4 things. 3, she's from an immigrant family. And 4, she's gay. So she's got all of these reasons why you can't talk about her. You can't criticize her. You can't do that. That's racist. That's homophobic. That's, nationalistic. That sounds MAGA. And you're like, no, she's just a horrible press secretary and she lies. This is what they've selected the Somalis to be. Right? We're going to bring in a bunch of people under the guise that they're escaping civil war, which they might have been, probably were. But then we're going to use them and their illiteracy, and we're going to go through them. We're going to create a scam so prodigious, so monstrous. The president said on Tuesday night that it was $19 billion, and then the number is much bigger than that. And that because you use them like you use Karine Jean-Pierre, because if you go after them, if you say things about them, you're just cruel. You just don't care about poor immigrants, and they're black. How awful are you? And you're like, no, I'm just kind of done with being scammed. And it's pretty much basically where I am. It's called common sense versus crazy. It's not complicated. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, there's a new CBS poll out. I don't know if you'll believe it. I don't know if I do, but it's asking America. You watch the State of the Union. Was it divisive and nasty, like we're told? Or did President Trump stick the landing? Next. Wow, you're sending me a flurry of stuff. What are you doing? My phone's like bing, 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 bing. No, not at all. Let's see.
I just thought what you were talking about, what he says. No one's angrier than him.
I'll continue to say this. You can trust me on this. The person who's angriest about this fraud is me. There is certainly no political upside to having fraud in your state, and it undermines the very program that I have spent a lifetime advocating for and trying to implement, and we have got criminals.
Something is going on in Texas. Primaries.
John Berman talking like an anchorman. Something's happening in Texas. It's like,
Yeah, more mail-in ballots for Democrats and Republicans right now. Is that breaking news? That happens everywhere.
yep. The fraud thing, though, is just, and truly, that's what I said. The Somalians are not academic heavyweights, right? We know,
nationalistic.
We know this. We know this. They're clans. They are clans people, right? That's the way their society functions. There's quite a bit of intermingling of the gene pool, blah, 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 but that doesn't do a whole lot for mental acuity over time, right? Which is why we don't inbreed, why we don't have sex with our cousins and get married to our brothers, right? We know this. So you're going to bring in a highly ill-educated, right, inbreeding population that knows poverty and famine and war. And you're going to tell me that they're going to rob us of $18-19 billion.
Their GDP.
I'm sorry, but they are like Joe Biden. They're a shell. They're the conduit through which stuff happens. Joe Biden didn't make any calls. Joe Biden didn't make any decisions. Joe Biden know where Joe Biden was. And in order for him to be vertical, right? Let me tell you about Morgane's Fitness. Kelly Morgan, Morgane's Fitness. She's got a merch. Isn't it still going on, Brock? Merch sale going on. Morganesfitness.com. Super cute workout gear. Super cute stuff. She's a bodybuilder, so she knows what has to move on your body in order for you to work out comfortably and not have things tight on you. I don't like things tight on me when I'm working out, right?
Yes, it's the Spring Spirit sale.
Spring Spirit. So what does that mean? What does she say about it? She's got spirit and then it's spring?
Okay.
All right. Well, she has great merch and she knocks the price down. But also, time to sign up for 90 Ignite if you haven't. Hey, if you live in southwestern Pennsylvania, if you live near Somerset or Cambria counties, I don't know why you haven't joined her gym. It's a great place. Conservatives, really good people, hardworking people, salt of the earth. And if you know that you need to get your body back, but you've never really gotten into a gym and you don't understand the equipment, it's nice to go somewhere where you're comfortable, where they'll teach you. Morganesfitness.com. That's the
one of the sleeveless ones. Oh.
You do.
Yeah.
Will that look good?
What?
A sleeveless shirt? I don't know.
I don't know. They're comfortable.
Are they?
Yeah. Especially when I'm like have a uniform on. Like baseball.
Oh.
So they don't.
Oh. The fraud, autism fraud, transportation fraud. Nick Shirley needed to get a freaking bodyguard. It's crazy.
So did David.
That's crazy. God. That Dr. Oz and JD Vance are zeroing in on California, which, by the way, has more hospice providers just in LA County than the entire rest of the country combined. Do you think that's a red flag? Bing, 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 bing. It's like seeing a spike of 435,000 votes for one candidate and 3,200 for the other. I mean, like, it's so freaking in your face, preposterously, egregiously illegal. And yet you're just supposed to take it like it's like Joe Biden won. I mean, like, come on, what are we doing? I want to read you this poll. It's interesting. It seems America is kind of proud, kind of hungry to be proud for America. So views of speech among speech watchers, this is of the State of the Union, CBS put out a poll, Honestly, there's no other stories going on in the world today. Nancy Guthrie, I guess they've kind of scrapped that. They're like, yeah, well, we've hit a dead end. We got nothing. Anyway, thanks for playing. See you later. And you're like, wait a minute. What was that? 5 weeks you've been telling us breathlessly, this just in. We've got nothing, but we want you to know that we're relevant still. Back to you, right? 75% of speech watchers approved of what the president said at the State of the Union. 75% to 25%. Right? This isn't complicated. 75% to 25%. Now, I don't trust polls. You don't trust polls, and we shouldn't trust polls. Polling is just another way Democrats try to steer the story that Trump is bad for America. Don't fall for the propaganda. And it's interesting because the Federalist put this out. Propaganda press manufactured Trump's tough poll numbers right in time for the State of the Union. Didn't we suggest this? Seems so curious that Harry Enton's like, wow, this president's really got an uphill battle with the State of the Union. Nobody likes him. And I'm looking around going, who the hell are you polling? Heading into President Trump's State of the Union, corporate media wanted to make sure Americans knew how much they supposedly dislike him. Americans sour on Trump ahead of the State of the Union, polls find. It was Politico's headline. Democrat Party's mouthpiece cited a Washington Post ABC News Ipsos poll. I told you about it, right? That found only 39% of Americans approve of the way Trump is handling the job of president. Oh, bullcrap. It is so dumb. It's as dumb as the spike in votes. It's as dumb as Somalians ripping us off. It's as dumb as Karine Jean-Pierre having the mental faculties to be press secretary. She sucked. And it was so painful. And it was intended to be. It's all intended to be. Right? We're going to pick some things and it's going to sound like, oh yeah, we're all in this together, but we're actually screwing you over. And then when we get called out on it, we're going to blame you for something that's, I don't know, untoward, some kind of a moniker that you won't be able to shake. Well, it sounds like you're a racist. As Mehmet Oz said, is everything is autism, then nothing is autism. If everything is racist, nothing is. Even the Federalist is calling out these polls. ABC News, which paid Trump $15 million and offered a note of regret in 2024 to settle a defamation lawsuit involving its political hack anchor's false accusations. I'm going to go with George Stephanopoulos. Even they insisted that Trump's State of the Union address comes at uncertain, even perilous times for his presidency. Oh, no. On the economy, all these people disapprove. Nobody likes him. He shouldn't even show up. Do you remember how the polls all said that he was going to lose to Hillary? Do you remember the night when she wouldn't come out because he had won? Who was it? Who came out? Was it, I forget who came out and said that she was going to be here tomorrow, or we'll look at the numbers and we'll get back to you. And then the camera panned away to the white college-educated liberal babes in the audience who were crying. And we were like, wait a minute, something super weird is going on. Remember when there was that video of her outside of her Suburban as she was running for president, Hillary, as she's testifying before House Oversight right now, I'm sure telling all the truth and nothing but the truth, so help her God. And she like stumbled and almost like collapsed, and then all these guys had to like get around her, and like other people stood in the way so you couldn't see what was going on. And we're like, what just happened? Did Hillary Clinton just collapse? They're like, no, she's just a little dehydrated, right? A little dehydrated. No. Woman is infirm. Maybe didn't have enough adrenochrome, whatever she needs. I don't know. And you were told, no, that's not the story. The story is this. And all the polls are saying Trump's going to lose. All the polls, 90% of the polls. You even had that Iowa babe, right? The woman, what's her name? Statler or whatever, Ann, whatever her name was, with the Iowa polls right before the second Trump term. Well, the third. And she's like, oh, it's totally, he's going to lose. And then it wasn't even close. It's all a game. We're living in a simulation. God willing, it's nearing its end. Because I'm just ready for winning again, period. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, let's talk about moving on the SAVE Act. We're going to hear from John Thune. What's going on with you, sir? Who's not voting for it on the Republican side? Next.
Seltzer.
Ann Seltzer. Seltzer. Sells. I don't think there's a T in there. Seltzer. Yeah. And then she's like, well, I just got it wrong. I'm like, you don't get it wrong. Like, your track record over the last 40 years has been ridiculous. And now you're going to say, and you're going to lose in like double-digit fashion.
And then retire.
And then be like, oh, well, and then I'm going to retire. This is Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, it's the same way. You're retiring, right? So who cares if you blow up the SAVE Act by refusing to?
Same with Tillis.
Mm-hmm. They're gonna take the pin out of the grenade as they're walking out and be like, well, sucks to be you. Great legacy. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Disinfectwithsniper.com.
I used it this morning.
I used it this morning too. I use it every morning.
I used it on my feet.
Why?
It felt like it was scratchy.
Oh, like athlete's foot?
Yeah. And I'm like,
If there is, okay, is there something, I'm going to ask you this question. Is there something in your house right now that, one, cleans and disinfects things like your shower from bacteria, mold, fungus, all this stuff? Two, keeps your home safe from viruses like COVID, SARS, MRSA, whatever. Three, that's entirely safe for your family, your pets, your children, all of it, right? And four, works so well, you don't even have to wipe it up. I've never seen a product like that, but I now have it. It's called Sniper. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Oops, I never do that right. Sorry. This is it. Disinfectwithsniper.com. I'll just read you what it says on the outside. Mold and mildew cleaner, bactericide, fungicide, viricide, no rinse required, ready to use spray. Eliminate odors at the source. Eliminate odor in shoes, furniture, mattresses, curtains, drapes, carpets, rugs, sports equipment, helmets, gloves, body armor, and vehicles. Huh. Sounds pretty good. How about this? Strong cat odors, pet odors, animal kennels, barn stalls, urine and other waste odors, strong ammonia odors, strong sulfur and formaldehyde odors, strong smoke odors caused by fire, tobacco, and other sources, and odors from mold and mildew. Oh, wait, there's more. Deodorize your HVAC system, your ductwork. It is a non-pesticidal allergen removal. Okay.
Yeah, it's perfect for spraying your air filters at home.
Disinfectwithsniper.com. No cost shipping.
Free shipping.
Free shipping.
I'll have you know that they use it at treatment centers, like the poop treatment centers. What are they called?
Poop treatment centers. You mean the water treatment plants?
Yes. Thank you.
They use Sniper at water treatment plants. Where? I'm going to say that's fake news.
No. I believe in Pittsburgh. They buy 55-gallon drums.
Huh?
They use it. Yeah. Yeah, it kills everything. It kills bacteria and safe. Spray it in your mouth.
That's the thing that's crazy. That's the part that's dizzying.
I use it on Sinatra's crate.
I used it on Murphy's ears when they got stinky.
I've done that too.
Mm-hmm. And then I realized he actually had an infection that needed to be treated. Thanks, Dr. Mike. It'd only been like 9 years. How long has his ears been like this? And I'm like,
he's
9
10,
years.
9.
And they're like, really? And I'm like, my poor dog.
That's why you take them.
I know. All right, I'm
go
gonna
there. I was going to identify as a dog just so he could be my primary care.
I want to tell you about Rumble Wallet. We were just talking about giving money, tipping, adding stuff. Look, this is something that Rumble wants you to know. We know that big banks, and it wasn't just JP Morgan Chase. It was like 9 banks debanked President Trump after January 6th. If they can do that to the president, they can do it to you. And so Rumble is saying, look, we've been here during all of the censorship. We've been here providing free speech for all sorts of of content providers like us, regardless of politics. This is the time for us to get in this idea of giving you a wallet. We don't take any of your money. It's completely safe. Nobody's going to shut you down or take it away from you. But they say you can buy and save digital assets through your Rumble wallet. You control your money, not a bank, not a government, not a tech company, not even Rumble can touch it. It's not only a wallet to buy and save, but also allows you to support your favorite creators by easily tipping them with the click of a button. There will be no fees when you tip any channel, including this one or others. We actually receive the tip instantly, unlike other platforms where you have to wait for the cut, and then you get your meager remittances, what have you. Support this program and other creators by clicking the tip button on my Rumble channel. It's called wallet.rumble.com. Please, I'm not asking you to tip me. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying they're offering this kind of cool avenue for you. If you're on Rumble commonly, you might be very interested in this. That's all. I personally think you should give me everything.
Wow.
You know, and if you do it through Rumble Wallet, neither of us will get charged. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Let's see how you're doing with the Rumbles.
They're not rumbling for the Eagles.
They're not. Do it for the kids. We have to rumble for the kids.
Yeah.
Go Villa Madonna. Earlier, and I ripped it off from somebody. I always have to give them credit. I forget who it was, but the job of the mainstream media today is to make you believe that the views of 10% of the country are actually the views of 90% of the country. The media, the polls, the headlines, all of it, right, is to create the illusion that these wacky fringe ideas that you and I don't support are mainstream and widely accepted. Like, you know, letting your son and daughter choose their gender and go through a horrific process from which there is no return. Like, that's not normal. And yet we have doctors and hospitals all across the country that were chopping off parts and stitching new parts on and giving kids elixirs of hormones. What the hell are we doing? Well, the 10% got away with it. Look, we're part of the majority. It's time to start acting like it, right? Heritage Action wrote this article, which is kind of interesting. We're going to get into the SAVE Act because this is a 90% issue. This isn't like a hand wringer. This isn't a nail biter. This is something we all get behind. New polling shows Save America Act commands broad support across battleground states. So we've heard, it's 83% of all of us, 78% of black people, 90 blank of white people, whatever it is. Right? This is different, though. New polling from Heritage Action across 5 battleground states demonstrates that the Save America Act is broadly supported by voters across Alaska, Georgia, Maine, North Carolina, and Ohio. More than 70% of likely voters oppose non-citizen voting. More than 80% agree that every legal voter should have confidence that their ballot is counted equally and not diluted. And nearly 80% support applying the same eligibility standard in every state for federal elections. The data shows the electorate is not divided on this issue. And yet all Democrats will vote against it. Why? Because they need to cheat to win. Any questions? You know it. I know it. And with Trump putting the screws to the machines and the mail-in ballots and him wanting same-day paper ballots, which, by the way, are way safer with the watermarks and way less expensive than this ridiculous machinery, which you know is corrupt as stones. This isn't a divisive issue. American voters are smart. This is Tiffany Justice. She's Heritage Action's executive vice president. They know that showing an ID to vote is simple way to protect their ballots. Period. Voting is a privilege of American citizenship. It should be defended by common sense measures that apply equally to all states. And alas, across 5 of these states, more than 70% of likely voters oppose non-citizen voting. Okay? So that's where we are. Everybody knows it. That hasn't changed. And yet, Democrats refuse to listen to the will of the people. Why? Well, the people against it want to cheat. There's no other way to slice it. This is Senator Eric Schmidt from the great state of Missouri, and he says Democrats brought millions of people here to vote. Do know that this is the hill that they're going to die on. They will not move because this is the end of the line for them. They spent all this time bringing in all these people pretending that American citizens weren't being murdered, raped, pillaged, stolen from. This is why they don't cover the stories that you and I do. Here's Eric Schmidt.
The Democrats have kind of lost the argument here with American citizens. They're an intellectually bankrupt party, and they've decided that they're going to bring in 15 million people here illegally, and they don't think you should have to, prove your citizenship to vote. They don't think you should have to prove who you are to vote like you do when you check into a hotel room. So that should tell you all you need to know about where they're at, and I think it'd be a very important move for us to be serious, spend the time to get the Save America Act done, where you have to prove citizenship, you have to show who you are when you go vote. It's just common sense. I think that's the return of common sense that President Trump talked about in his second inaugural.
Again, common sense versus crazy. Now, this Heritage Action poll goes on to say, according to the survey, voters are roughly twice as likely to reward a senator for supporting the Save America Act as to punish them for doing so. The Save America Act is not politically controversial, quite the opposite. Heritage Action's senior director of communications says, if Democrats intend to block the Save America Act, the American people should see it. Not through a quiet cloture vote, not through process maneuvering, through a full, visible, talking filibuster. Make the opponents stand on the floor. Make them explain why proof of citizenship for federal voting is unreasonable when 70 to 80% or more of voters say otherwise. Bingo. Senator John Thune said something very disturbing yesterday. You already know that the Democrats in the Senate aren't going to vote for it because none of the Democrats in the House did. But this is John Thune saying we don't have Republican support. Now, this is your problem, Senator.
The talking filibuster issue is one on which there is not certainly a unified Republican conference, and there would have to be. If you go down that path, you're talking about the need to table what are going to be numerous amendments and an ability to keep 50 Republicans unified pretty much on every single vote. And there isn't support for doing that at this point. As I've said, and we will get on it, and we will have a vote on the SAVE Act. The context of that, the process in which we consider it is still an open question, but one that we're having conversations about, but clearly not a unified position, at least among Republicans in the Senate.
Look, the Republicans who vote against this, this is the embodiment of the swamp. This is the deep state. This is the uniparty. Period. These people are far more offensive to me than anybody on the left. I expect the left to suck. I'm not surprised by that. It's the people who pretend to you that they don't, but who really do, who suck more than everybody else. These are your deep state snakes. Who are they? How about new Utah Senator John Curtis, Republican? He's Mitt Romney light. He opposes this Save America Act. Really, John? Really? Mitch McConnell, okay, guy who's been in office for 41 years, 18 years as party leader, and 6 of those years as the Senate Majority Leader. Why ever would Mitch McConnell Do you really think Mitch McConnell opposes it? Mitch McConnell doesn't know where he is. He's evaporated. He slithered off into the sunset with his statue disease or whatever the hell it is, probably from the vaccine. Do you really believe it's Mitch McConnell who's saying he's not going to vote for it? That's a deep state. He's been controlled by them for a while. He is them. Then you've got what? Lisa Murkowski. She's a zero. Tom Tillis, he's on his way out. He hates Trump. Trump called him out. He's got the pin of the grenade in his mouth, pulling it, ready to lob it for this vote. They will do whatever it takes to screw Trump. Republicans. And here's Senator Mike Lee. He's like, look, all these people are like, we can't fiddle with the filibuster because if we fiddle with it, then the Democrats are going to do it too. The Democrats are already going to do it. Grow a pair for once in your life, unless they're far more deep state, uniparty, swamp creatures than we know. Senator Mike Lee.
I'm going to make a prediction right now. Over the next few days, you're going to hear a lot of people going on TV saying that the Senate Republicans can't possibly enforce the talking filibuster on the Save America Act without hastening the moment when the Democrats will get the majority again and then nuke the filibuster. This is absurd. First of all, they're going to nuke the filibuster anyway whenever they get the majority again, if they perceive it to be in their interest to do so. Secondly, if we use the talking filibuster now, if anything, if it has any effect on whether the Democrats nuke when they get the chance, it makes it marginally less likely, not more. Don't fall for this ridiculous argument. At the end of the day, the American people want the Save America Act passed. We as Republicans who have the majority have the opportunity to get this done. If we do, great. If we don't, that's on us. Let's get it done. Stop dragging our heels. Let's move this thing to the floor, invoke the talking filibuster, and pass the Save America Act.
Are you telling us this? Go tell them that. Go talk to Murkowski. Go talk to this Curtis guy. Why are you telling us, Senator? I appreciate you grandstanding here and telling us what you think. But the American, what you want us now? So the job now is for us to flood all of these phone calls or flood all of these Senate offices. Mitch McConnell doesn't give a rip what you think. Mitch McConnell is not present. Okay? And Ron Johnson, senator from Wisconsin, he says the most honest thing here. He's like, let's stop protecting some relic of yesteryear. Democrats have proven to us by spying on a private citizen who would end up being chief of staff of the president and his FBI director. They've proven to us who they are. They created the Russia collusion hoax. They spied on members of Congress. All conservatives. They set up the January 6ers. They stole an election. They foisted a virus on the American people that they charged you to create and then told you that the vaccine was the thing that was going to cure everything. And how many did that make sick? Do you really think we should believe a damn thing these people say? Senator Johnson.
So I understand why a lot of my colleagues are clinging to the past and want to maintain the filibuster because it's kept us from being a socialist nation earlier. But those days are gone. Democrats have shown us their hands. They purged the two senators who prevented them ending the filibuster last time. Next time they get power, they'll end the filibuster. We ought to do it now, and we need to do it to secure our border, to secure our elections, the Save America Act. At a minimum, okay, right now we don't have the votes to end the filibuster. At a minimum, we ought to bring the Save America Act to the floor and make Democrats defend why they are opposed to something that American public supports. What, 80% of the American public, they want voter ID. They don't want their legitimate vote canceled by a fraudulent one. So bring it to the floor. Let's force Democrats to talk about it, defend their indefensible position for days and days at a time.
And I agree. Force them to do what the president forced them to do on Tuesday night. Point blank, show America how you vote. Because when you sit on your hands for a 6-year-old girl whose brain has been scrambled by an illegal alien who the state of California and their sanctuary policies gave a commercial driver's license to, who could not speak English, and when he drove his 80,000-pound tractor trailer into her car, right? And they don't stand for that? That's what forcing them to filibuster on the floor of the Senate is all about. John Thune. Give me a break. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, I got a little more Fetterman for you. This is wild. Next. Like, that's what this is. right? Don't you see things so clearly now? Don't you understand now why they chose Karine Jean-Pierre to be press secretary? Because anybody who criticized her was going to be labeled something. You can't criticize somebody, right? Well, yeah, we did, because it wasn't about box checking. It was about ability, and she had none. And we had no problem calling that out, period. I have no qualms about that, right? We see what's going on with the fraud. Come on. We all know what's going on. It's not nationalistic to be like, hey, if you're a Somalian, get out. Bye. See you later. You're not protected. You know, the Civil War, I don't know what's going on in your country, but you've obviously overworn your welcome here. Bye-bye. Go away. And that he's right. Johnson's right. What did they do? They nuked Kirsten Sinema and Manchin for voting against it last time, the filibuster. All right. The worst thing to be in this country right now, next to a deep state rhino, is a Democrat. You get your marching orders, you get your script, you're told where to stand, you're told how to behave, you're told what talking points you're going to tweet out, what the catchphrase of the day is. Forks in my eyes, needles in my eyes. It's sort of like you can all see it, right? They all say the same thing. It's an insurrection. What? What are you talking about? Looks like a lot of people getting pushed. Right? You stretching in there.
Yeah. I would go after Fetterman if I was them. If I was Republicans.
To bring him over to the dark side.
Yeah. And be like, listen, you keep saying this. Are you willing to vote for this? Like, what
is the key thing that Fetterman, like, he's pro-Israel. Okay, so are Republicans. Right?
He's for voter ID, he said.
Right? So what is he about? Do you believe that you should, as a father of 3, do you believe that abortion is a woman's right up to the point of birth? I don't know. That's kind of a game changer for me. Right?
He's from when he ran for lieutenant governor to now.
And went on his weed tour?
Yeah. Completely different.
He was all about weed, all about legalizing weed.
Which did not vibe with his when he was mayor of Braddock. Like he went like Mayor Braddock. I talked to him a lot because he was on the air a lot. He was pretty much just, we need to stop the kill.
He's want jobs. We want people to stop dying.
Yeah.
We want some economic opportunity.
Right. And then he ran for lieutenant governor. And then it was like weed and LGBTQ.
Oh, no, it was weed, and it was like, yeah, and it was like safe injection sites and all this stuff. And clemency, dumping everybody who was in prison. Just let them out. They've served enough.
But then he's kind of, and I think it's more that he hasn't so much moved. His party has went way over to the left. And I think he's in no man's land right now. And right now, I don't think he'd win an election.
The only way he would win is if Republicans voted for him.
Yeah. And in Pennsylvania.
And if he gets primaried,
yes.
The Democrats will not allow him to advance. He's got what, 4 years?
Yeah, I believe so.
How long has he been? When was he? Let me see. Fetterman elected when? 22, 24, 22, 22. So he's Remember how the left clung to him? Oh, don't you dare say anything bad about him and his performance with Mehmet Oz in that Senate debate, right? Don't you dare. He had a stroke. He has brain damage. That's ableist for you to identify that he's having troubles communicating. And now the Democrats are like, Fetterman who? This is a very interesting story, right? See, It's so curious to me. In order to win as a Democrat in this country, I'll talk nationally, you have to be willing to take everything that you personally care about and flush it down the toilet. Your personal views on everything don't matter. You just need to be a shell of a human being through which a dependable vote can course. That's all you are. You're no better than the Somalis in Minnesota. They don't care about you in Minnesota, Somalian citizens. They don't care about you. You are the conduit through which they can get money. That's it. It's USAID. It's Act Blue. It's all the same stuff. So when the Democrats don't like John Fetterman anymore because he's not one of those people that can be forced into voting against what he thinks. He's not one who's going to vote against his conscience because he's been told to do that. Nancy Pelosi and her pterodactyl claw isn't going to be able to convince John Fetterman, I really need you to vote this way. I don't think so. Maybe on some things. Other things, And there's a reason he sat by himself at the State of the Union. Well, according to Emerson polling, some polling done this month, Democrats are none too pleased with their Democrat senator from Pennsylvania. But Republicans are. Isn't that odd? That we will look at somebody not based on their party, but on their actions, but on their words, on their deeds, how they behave, and we will judge them accordingly. Democrats are knives out, period, for Republicans. There's no conversation at all. Well, this is a very interesting poll because it suggests that 73% of Republicans approve of the job performance of Senator John Fetterman. 22% of Democrats do. That's kind of wild, don't you think? A new survey sponsored by Real Clear Opinion Research measures Pennsylvania residents' attitudes towards immigration policy and perceptions in the Keystone State, blah, blah, blah. And it goes on and it talks about how residents feel about this or that. I think it's very interesting that Pennsylvanians, part of this poll was to ask people in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania where they get their news about immigration. This is very interesting. Look, the takeaway on John Fetterman is that Democrats don't like him and Republicans do. And so coming up, he's going to figure out what he's going to do with his life, if he's going to continue in politics. How are you going to continue as the Joe Manchin or the Kirsten Sinema of the Democratic Party? They have rendered you persona non grata. In this poll, Pennsylvanians, where they get their information, CNN, MSNBC, these people, they've lost their touch. Pennsylvanians report their top sources of news about immigration include social media, 27%, cable network news, 21%, local TV, 17%. Isn't that crazy? Print and online news, 10%. No wonder all of these newspapers are closing. Nobody's reading them. We're tired of it. Among those getting news from cable and network, the top sources are Fox News, 36%, CNN, 19%. Wow. MS Now, 13%, and ABC News, 10%. There's a cataclysmic shift going on in this country. And the Democrats, if they don't realize that more and more people are wandering away from their reservation and finding other pastures, it's well past too late. Of those getting immigration news from, let's see, print and online, the top sources are the New York Times, 25%. CNN, 7%. Wow. The Associated Press, 6%. You guys, these used to be like monolith leaders, thought leaders, propaganda spreaders, headline makers, the people who spread the narrative. You've got John Fetterman, more approved by Republicans. And this is a guy who supports abortion. This is a guy who's all about LGBTQ. This is a guy who's about legalizing marijuana. This was a guy who campaigned to release prisoners, right? Because it's the kind thing to do. And you have more Republicans standing in his camp than Democrats merely because John Fetterman has common sense. So what is it? Common sense or crazy? Thanks for being a part of the program. Quick prayer. Let's go, Villa Madonna Eagles. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Peace.